यार गेम क्या सुपर स्मूथ चल रहा है।
Asus गेमिंग लैपटॉप, वो भी अमेजिंग डील के साथ, and I can pay आराम से with a 12-month no cost EMI. Crazy!
कहाँ से लिया?
Bro, JBL earbuds at 45% off. उसके ऊपर free Kindle and Audible subscriptions. Can you believe it? अब ये देख। शांति।
कहाँ से लिया? Sorry.
Hey, you! I'm tracking my run on this new smartwatch I got. Noise का 70% off.
Oh,
मैंने सोचा ऐसी डील पे मैं भी अपनी फिटनेस बढ़ा लूं. Seamless Bluetooth calling. Hey, I'm running towards you. Yeah. ये देख, I just got this Intel Evo laptop in exchange for my old one. 20,000 बच गए, बस 99 rupees में extended warranty, plus 20% off भी मिल गया. Pretty sweet deal, right?
Totally feel you, bro. This iPad was always on my wish list. Got the latest one at a great deal and saved $8,000 in exchange for my old phone.
Hey, what's up?
सबको इतनी बढ़िया डील्स मिल रही हैं। ये सब कहाँ से लिया?
Amazon से लिया।
Amazon Great Indian Festival से
Amazon Great Indian Festival पर मिलेंगे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पर जबरदस्त डील्स, नो कॉस्ट EMI, एक्सचेंज ऑफर और सेम डे डिलीवरी।
अब इंडिया बोलेगा Amazon से लिया।
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LGL to represents the TEC Challenger Series for the VCT off-season, powered by Amazon India, with our GPU partners being Zotac Gaming, gaming partners being Intel, memory and storage partners being Crucial, laptop partners being Asus, and of course, our broadcast partner, as always, will be Loco. It's going to be your boy Aggressive, with the lovely and beautiful Grace be on my side for this entire cast. And again, we have a handful of matches for you today. Southeast Asia going up against the best of three. Now that is where the real fun will lie. But what will be more fun are the teams playing up against each other. We're going to be heading on to that screen in just a little bit. But Alter Ego versus NoNamers. You could be saying, who exactly are the NoNamers? But when you see the roster, yeah, that is when you're going to be really hyped up.
100%. Again, two absolutely stacked rosters. Of course, we have made it this far in the weekend with some significant upsets everywhere. But those upsets are not for nothing. Those upsets are indeed for this amazing prize pool that we have of up to $30,000 US. We've already worked out this weekend that, a lot of these top 8 teams, they've already got that $500 US. And the first place prize, that is significant, isn't it, Aggie?
The largest prize pool that we ever had in our region. Plus, this being cross-regional means you're not only fighting for this massive prize pool in front of your screens, you're also fighting for pretty much the sake of your entire region as a whole. SEA versus South Asia, one of the oldest fights that we had for the longest time. And now finally, this is another opportunity for the biggest teams in both regions to fight up against each other and show exactly how much talent that they have on the server.
And that's exactly it. It's all about showing the talent within the region. Of course, it is an absolutely stacked region. And a region as well, I think we spoke about this earlier, didn't we, Aggie? It's a very hyper-aggressive region, looking at the way that all of these teams have played thus far throughout the weekend. And that's going to be an exciting one. And, today's matchup, it is very exciting. So let's get into it and see what we're going to see. Alter Ego versus NoNamers. Both teams just off the bat of their first win going into this weekend. Alter Ego's win a little bit more potent, I will say. It was a 13-1 victory. And that is not just a casual win. That is a significant beatdown of their opponent.
Again, the team's been sticking together for the last 2 years. What do you expect? If I have ever seen a team that has stuck together through thick and thin, through every single roster iteration that they have gone through, then you know for a fact the team's just going to be that good. Their team playing synergy, the experience they have playing with each other. They don't even need to give comms in most cases, and they're still going to be able to do it. But going up against their challengers this time around, as we head on down over to the roster reveal for NoNamers, it's not going to be that easy. Bryce, Flaring, Vera, Shun, and DXN, all of these players, they know for a fact they're here to play.
100%. I think if anyone can take down Alter Ego, it's certainly this roster. They've had a really good run of it thus far throughout the weekend. And again, sometimes it can benefit that maybe you are not as experienced in terms of your statistical availability as your opponent, because that gives you more opportunities to go in for the counter-stratting. But of course, they are going against Alter Ego. And we did see a really interesting a mix-up of things the other day. I think actually Wifey, who is their manager, had to sub in. And he actually top fragged, which is significant. Because again, it's this idea of, 9 times out of 10, if you can't have a player show up for whatever reason, maybe there's like a technical issue or a personal issue, if you have your manager and your coach staff as an example, and they sub in because they know how you play, we see it across, so many things, so many tournaments. Sometimes if the coach subs in, it doesn't really affect the roster too much. But for now, this will be hopefully the roster we will see today. And you really got to be keeping your eyes on certain players like Kush, like Delb. They significantly put in the work for their team, pinching together, getting those initial kills under their belt. And a lot of nice clutches as well, Aggie.
Yep, that's for certain. Adrian, though, I am going to be hyping him up just a little bit more in particular, because we've seen this guy just be one of those X factors for the side of Alter Ego. If he has a good day, doesn't matter if Delv is playing well or not, he always is consistent. We talked about him. The most consistent player for their side. But if Adrian's having a good day, this guy can just single-handedly take over the entire server. We're going to be heading on down over to the head-to-head, though, and see exactly which two players are going to be on our highlight reels for today and who will have the spotlight being shown upon them. Because, again, we talk about star fraggers, star players all the time, and sometimes these star players are what really allows a team to propel themselves to that next level. But then again, both of these
100%.
teams, each and every player is a star player. When you think about it on paper, they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, but what they do have is the consistency coming in from both ends of the spectrum.
100%. And that's it, isn't it? Consistency is key. I also think the fact that, yes, maybe they did have to play with the manager the other day, but the fact that they're able to still win shows that the teamwork is absolutely on point. Teamwork makes the dream work. And speaking of dreamy, look at these two stacked players, Delb versus DXN. It's going to be a bit of a spicy one, I reckon. Again, yes, we would say that Delp has the slightly higher KD, but we need to consider how that actually translates throughout the round. Yes, maybe you die a lot more on the side of DXN, but it's also thinking about the plays they're making that is ultimately securing the round win. So, for example, you might get a few kills and you might get immediately traded out. That is going to kind of impact your stats a little bit. But if you're getting those kills under your table, that's allowing the breathing room for your team to then go in, throw some utility down and get that objective secured, that's all that matters at the end of the day. And again, as we say, consistency is key. You want that to be consistently happening. You want that teamwork to be coming through, that communication. So I don't know, this is going to be an interesting one, I reckon, because I think on paper, again, there's way more information for Alter Ego out there. So if you're NoNamers support staff right now, you've probably been doing the works. You've probably been working out, what map are we going to take them to? What map should we avoid here? Do we go to our preferred maps, or do we try and play into some of their maps, get them a little bit on the ropes in their own comfortable territory, which can be very, very spicy indeed.
Again, when you consider a team knowing exactly what to do up against them, considering the statistics that Alter Ego have pretty much given away towards NoNamers, NoNamers have absolutely nothing on them. What are you going to try to anti-strat against them? They have no information on the team. And because they don't have an organization, they've been swapping players in and out consistently, so their team play and synergy are not that stable, but also the fact is, you don't know how good they can be on the maps. Here is where the real fun lies, because Alter Ego, one of their strongest maps are Bind, and NoNamers have banned it out. And that, in my eyes, is the most GigaChat play that they can go for. Banning out Bind, banning out Fracture, two of the strongest maps for the team. NoNamers, they have set themselves up for victory by taking Pearl, which is notably one of their much more stronger maps, because there's almost no statistics available for this particular map when it comes under their team or any team in general. So they're starting off on a good but clean slate.
Good but clean, but it could also be that they just haven't had a time to work out what they actually want to do with it. And I think realistically that might be something that benefits Alter Ego a bit more, especially in terms of the layout of the map and how those angles and lines of sight can be utilized, especially given what we've seen from Alter Ego thus far. Again, Haven, if it does get that far, of course NoNamers starting on the fence is going to rustle them a little bit. And we've seen some significant win rates for the side of Alter Ego on that as well. Regardless of whether they're on an attack or defense, they're able to play into that map so well. I think Ascent's going to be the interesting one personally.
Yep.
Again, yeah, that's I don't know, it's going to be... I think that will be the closest one. Like, would you agree with that, Aggie?
Considering NoNamers love that particular map, I believe so. Ascent, pretty much the vanilla map of Valorant. If you don't like any other flavor, I think Ascent's going to be the best one for you if you're just dipping your toes into the game, trying to figure out exactly what you want to do. The map just is so versatile in the way that you play it, yes, but it's also one-dimensional in the approaches that you can take. There's 3 different sidelines, 4 different choke points that you can go into, and that's pretty much it. Take the mid control, take A, take B, and then you're pretty much done. There's not much else to do on that particular map other than just try to get that team synergy in together to try and maybe, let's say, go in for fast, heavy executions on that particular map. Ascent is like a completely different ballgame compared to any other, because it has been tried and true, tested by each and every player. And if you're starting off on a brand new team, we'll always go over to Ascent first, get your strategy sound there, get the team play and synergy built on that particular map, and then shift yourself onto others. But I do believe that Pearl and Haven will be a lot more different when it comes down to the dynamic, because these maps are a lot more strategic focused considering the sheer size of the map itself. Haven has 3 sides. Pearl doesn't have 3 sides, but honestly, at this point, if you tell me that mid is a side, I will believe you. Everyone fights for it. The defenders, they will run out of each and every one of their corridors to take over mid. If you don't have mid control, you don't win on Pearl.
100%, because it's the idea that you can just collapse outwards, essentially, can't you? You can really go for these pinches. Again, very aggressive and nasty pinches, especially with Fade now in play as well. Think about how many twists and turns that utility can be used to absolutely hunt out any ratty angles that are being held by your opposition, and the immediate swing out that can come after that as well. One thing I will say, again, going back to Ascent, is that it is both of these teams' preferred maps, but we could say that for a lot of teams, to be honest. It's the bread and butter of a map, really. It's one of those very standard basic picks you often do see in a best of 3. It's just interesting statistically that it's a 71% win rate for the side of NoNamers and a 67% win rate for the side of Alter Ego. So again, very evenly matched on it, depending on who they're going up against. And again, we talk about the bans of, Bind being banned out as an example, but also Icebox was banned out by Alter Ego. That is indeed one of NoNamers' best maps, and it's not really a great map for Alter Ego either. So that makes perfect sense. They don't want to deal with that. I say it's wide. It is like a wide but short map, and I think at those moments you get those initial longer lines of sight before it goes into a little bit of a choke point, and it's those initial engagements that can be interesting, because again, 9 times out of 10, that initial round aggression from the defense, if there's an overextension, that works every single time, and that map plays beautifully into it. So that being kind of yeeted away from this best of 3 certainly benefits Alter Ego here. And I know that you had your kind of little inkling towards NoNamers maybe causing a little bit of an upset here, but I genuinely think on paper, Alter Ego, if they were able to show up yesterday with their manager in the roster, if they're showing up their full stack today, I think it's going to get very, very nasty very quickly for the NoNamers. But ultimately, Aggie, it is going to come down to that early round aggression. I said this a lot yesterday, and I think aggression is, as we say, the name of the game when it comes to the APAC region. I'm here for it. I love that kind of play style, completely 100%. I love the ratty plays. I love the aggressive pinches, and it really shows the quality of the teamwork sometimes when teams are able to play that off as well, especially if we do see a little bit of intel on the board.
Again, it's all about the chaos. Tell me honestly, in any of the titles that we have casted in the past, or any of other esports titles that we have seen on the competitive level, there are very few teams that can really use the chaos to their advantage. And in our region in particular, we live and thrive off that chaos. We love to create it. We love to just utilize it to force and elevate ourselves to that next level. And through that level of chaos, we've seen all of these SCA teams just be in the zone. If you go for a much more control-heavy playstyle, let's say maybe for the likes of Paper X, we have seen them in the past use a much more control-heavy game plan, and they failed miserably because of it. When they went on back and they ran it back over to their old playstyle, just consistently relying on fast, aggressive, execution-heavy pushes by just being in your face and utilizing your raw mechanical skill on the forefront, they can easily take over any map. And I do believe that these teams will do the same. Alter Ego in particular will be a lot more heavily utilizing it, because much more of an older team, they have a playstyle that has been set in stone for the longest amount of time. But we've seen them play about almost 4 months ago on a very high level tournament, at least a high profile. So in a way, will the team still have the same strategies as they did before? Will they be going in for something different? No statistics whatsoever for the map of Pearl, mind you. So we have no idea what they're going to be picking up here. So
yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's a new map. It's a new map. This is actually going to be my first time casting Pearl, so I'm quite excited for that. But it's a new map. There's been a lot of changes in the last 4 months in general, to be honest. And again, even after Champions, we saw the pick rates of certain agents completely shift up. I was talking about this yesterday, those chamber picks. That dropped by 10%. Given how much dominance we do get on specific maps of chamber, that was quite surprising. But then yesterday, the teams kind of turned around and were like, yeah, we're bringing chamber. But it made sense because, again, those long lines of sight, if you're not taking a chamber, you are going to take a duelist with an op in their hand, ideally Jet. And I think with Pearl as well, it's such a diverse map because yes, you can use long lines of sight within that map. At the same time, as you say, that midsection is chaotic in my opinion.
Yeah.
That is a very chaotic midsection. There's so many twists and turns, so many opportunities for flanks, so many opportunities for pinches. If there's like, for example, a mid-round rotation on a map like Pearl, nasty business. You can get into a gunfight very, very quickly, and it's not a safe rotation to make. There are some safe rotations, but mostly rotating on that map is very, very difficult.
True.
You know that your rotation 9 times out of 10 is going to end up in a gunfight just because of the layout of it. And that's why, again, when it comes to the two sites on Pearl, you really have to just stick to your decision of, okay, we're going to execute this site and we have to bring that utility. We can't have any room for mistakes. It's a punishing map almost. That's how I'll describe it. But we can see the agents that are being brought to the table. I mean, Delb insta-locking into that neon. That is certainly a spicy one indeed. An expected one, though. Again, Delb very, very good on the neon. But as we were talking about, twists and turns in this, you need a kind of speedy gal to be whizzing around and helping you to carry around some little flanks here and there and everywhere.
Yep. Map control is the name of the game here. And Delve going onto that neon, I love the idea, but in execution, I'm just trying to think about what kind of strategies they could be going in for here. Neon as a solo duelist on this particular map might be a bit more difficult to pull off because the lines of sight is just so massive. Unless you have a lot of space being created by your initiators, that Neon could just instantly get shut down before he gets a lot of space going. It's going to be tough, but looking at the composition itself, I do believe that the initiators just have so much pressure on top of them to try and perform. On the other end of the spectrum, NoNamers, they have a Fade, they have a KO, and they have no duelists whatsoever. So they're going into the much more control-based playstyle, which is a lot more, let's say, well-known on this particular map, because again, you can't really rush a site on this particular map because there's too much utility you need to worry about, too many angles, too many corners that the defenders can hide around in. So having that information, having that utility to flush them out is the most important part of this map. But for Alter Ego, they don't care. They want to go for fast execution, heavy rushes, and it goes back to the analysis that we did previously, that they love being aggressive, and hopefully it works out. But I'm a little bit more skeptical because this composition in my eyes for this map just does not bode well at the end of the day.
It's indicating two very different playstyles, isn't it? You know, you've got maybe a bit more of a slow burn on the side of NoNamers. You know, they really want to take their time with it, but it's how that's going to clash with, again, as you say, more of a fast and furious kind of approach from Alter Ego. It's going to get nasty very quickly, and if it doesn't, I will be surprised. But again, I do love the KO utility and how that's going to be used, especially in that midsection. That's going to potentially shut down a lot of things in that mid round. And again, it's this idea of they have to commit to whichever site they feel like is the best option. Looking at them lurking towards that B site, I reckon it's going to be a full stampede towards B. As I say that, they've decided to rotate because of course they have Caster's Curse. But I was wondering then if the Astro was actually going to do a little bit of the old bait and switch, maybe send some util out towards that A site so they think, again, the midsection, the rotations can come through so quickly. If you can bait to A and that call out comes through on the defense, everyone's at A in seconds. That completely frees up the entirety of that left side of the map. You collapse in, fast and furious, spike down, hold your angles. And that's a really important thing here, Aggie, as well. It's something that people sometimes slip up on. They'll go in all guns blazing, fast and furious, get that objective secured, and then in that post plant is where they just go a little bit silly sausages. Everything kind of goes out the window. They forget about the approaches the defense will take. They're not communicating what angles they're covering. So again, you've got to be absolutely on it right now on the side of Alter Ego if you are going to go for this rush strategy.
Yep. A lot of chaos that can be created on this particular map with the composition that they have in lines, but I don't know exactly how much value the breach is going to get here. The breach is so difficult for you to even get a single flash in, considering the sheer amount of nooks and crannies that you're taking into consideration. The B side, a lot more simpler to get a lot of value out of the breach, because of course you can throw a flash straight up over onto hall, you can throw a flash on towards the side, through the wall, mind you, considering the breach flashes will travel through multiple walls until it reaches a solid surface. So you have a lot to play around with on the B side, but on the A side, a little bit more difficult considering the corners, especially on dugout. That cubby is so difficult for you to clear, and if you don't clear it out properly, it could be stuck. But I'm really excited to see at the end of the day exactly what Adrian will bring down to the table, because the round is about to start, and a B-side hit is imminent.
Imminent indeed. Dell bleeding the way. Look at that. And they're just making sure that it's nice and clear to get things started. I think they have fully sussed out that there's a lot of breathing room for them here, and that spike's gonna come down very, very quickly. Look at the util dump that we've seen on both sides thus far. Dell very aware of the fact that at some point that defense is gonna know where this collapse is coming from, and here we go. Lots of util being sent down. Delp holding the back of sight here just in case that flank starts to come through, and there we go, Aggie. That spike is nice and down.
The entirety of the B side is theirs, and the defenders are all the way towards mid, running through from the spawn side. They want to clear out Genma, but he's not giving it away. The positions are good. The headshot is so important, Shun. If you don't find this kill, it's going to be bad for you. Yep, that's the first, that's the second, and one by one, yep, they drop. Just the first initial kill is all that they need to create the chaos, and now the bodies are just going to fall onto the ground. Death all around on the side of Alter Ego. They run out of the gates on their feet.
There you go, Redcar taking down Noxie too. A little bit of an attempt just to pad the KD, but can't quite get to that spike. And can they get this one onto Delb? Yes, they can, but there we go. Ultimately, the attackers coming through, winning out that pistol round. And, well, again, I think maybe the defense needs to just leave at least... It's dangerous, but maybe just at least one person at the back of that site. I mean, that was a real nice shot from Red. A little bit clustered at first, but in this moment it's the idea, isn't it? The timer is ticking, but you don't know where they're holding these angles. You have to just try and make these 1 versus 1 engagements work in your favor, and they did a really good job of it until the timer ran out. So both sides at the moment doing okay. Again, just a pistol round, just the entry round to begin with, and it looks like the same kind of strategy going down with Vera, hoping to try and delay this approach. And look at that quick rotation coming through from the side of NoNamers.
Absolutely gorgeous. They already have every single player on towards this B side, and because of it, they should easily be able to hold this one down. But again, we talk about easy, but it all takes one bullet to the face to end things off in a horrible fashion.
Ooh.
It's all right, Noxie. Take a deep breath. It happens to all of us because your teammates are there. Yep, they're cleaning it all up. You can take some time off as they're going to be cleaning up the round and also cleaning up the entire game. Couple of kills going for the defenders, so at the end of the day, their ego will be looking quite fly.
Fly indeed. And speaking of flies, well, there we go. A fly walking into the web. Bryce ready and waiting around that corner.
No way.
Adrian also taking down Shun. Bryce, the second one there, trading it back out onto Adrian. Spike is down. A 1 versus 1 post plant. Little information as to where either of them are. So ankles just have to be held. And Kush coming through with that nice little clutch there. There's another round on the board for Alter Ego.
That was a good flick and a half.
Swingy, yeah.
Good reaction, snappy all around. But again, they did get the win. But at the end of the day, do you really call that a win for Alter Ego? I don't think so. They lost out 4 of their players and 4 guns. That's gonna hurt in the long run. You can already see their buys are extremely weak.
I mean, this is it, isn't it? It's like you go in fast and furious the first 2 rounds, and then you have to change up the momentum, which is what they're doing here. Now they've got a little bit of a split just to go for a little bit of the old bait and switch. If they can get a majority of those players towards that A site, which is exactly what it looks like they are trying to do, you can potentially whittle down the defense a bit more. But Vera has something to say about that. Noxie falling down. And again, I think the defense are actually reading into that really well. NoNamers aware that it's probably a little bit of a split push at the moment. And here's a bit of a quiet before the storm. Gun going to swing out, but Adrian shutting it down, and no immediate trade coming through right now from the side of NoNamers, so that's a little bit risky.
Maybe a bad situation for them, but still an equalization nonetheless. They need to try and work their way through, and the only person that has a vandal in their hands is Kush. If Kush is able to maybe get one more kill to equalize things out, then defenders are in a pretty tough spot. Again, you do have to remember, the side of Alter Ego, they have a lot more of weaker buys, and their buys being this horrible could just be the detriment. Bryce, again, swinging out from the sidelines. The Stinger's able to hold down Supreme. He gets a double. And with that, Redco coming in for the cleanup duty. 1 and 2. Things could have gone horribly wrong, but Bryce, the stars aligned for him. The man just got a double kill out of absolutely nowhere.
I mean, yeah, Bryce went huge there. No surprises, really. I mean, from the get-go, I'd be so shocked if this momentum from Bryce changes at any point, because they really are winning their ones by landing their shots. What I will say on the side of Alter Ego, maybe a bit more utility needs to come through. As soon as they started utilizing the Astro utility as an example was when they were able to finally collapse. Maybe that needs to come through a little bit quicker. Only time can tell, though. Delb once again getting stuck in, and there we go. There is our Astro utility. They're very much aware that a B push may be coming through, but it looks like the defense don't want to trust this comm just yet. Might be a bit of the old bait and switch, Aggie.
Possibly, but they're slowly but surely working their way in. This one Viper being a nuisance to them to try and even enter on towards this B side. They're not giving a lot of space away to them. I like that about this team. They're not playing it super aggressive. And again, Vera just constantly winning out on these chamber duels. And for old Noxie's just not having a good day, it seems.
A good day indeed, but what is good is seeing a nice little trade-off come through on either side there. That's what we want to see from these two teams. Constant trading, constant picks coming through, and Redco for now, very aware that their utility could be useful, pushing away at that attack, but pretty much seem to be committing right now to that B push, and here we go. The execute is going to start coming through. Delb getting stuck in, is absolutely tanking. That Viper was a beautiful shot there onto Redco as Bryce falls down to shut the trade.
My God.
Shut down by Delb, who gets a second onto Danon. Goodness me, Delb, what did you have for lunch today?
This guy just casually ran in. I didn't even expect it. One flash over onto Hall and he just swifted himself in. Man just Usain bolted from one side of the map to the other and just did not stop running.
But this is why the neon utility can be really good on a map like this, in my opinion. Like, it's such a it's a chaotic but short map. So the rotations can come through thick and fast, but you need someone that can absolutely land their shots as well. As I say, the chances of you going into a gunfight on your rotation are so high. Speaking of high, a little bit of pressure being applied to Vera here, who's able to get up high on the back of sight with that teleport, but looking for the lines of sight. It looks like, again, a little bit of a bait from the side of Alter Ego for now. Really just testing the waters, seeing where's clear, seeing where the weaknesses are in this defense, and Gemma ready and waiting with their teammates. Bryce yet again, Aggie, waiting. Could we see another big round from Bryce as people start to try and turn this corner?
I love the way they're utilizing utility, but DXN was not expecting that. Eva, once more, the cheeky off angle working out in his favor. Gets a casual free kill, and that's a massive kill as well. Taking out the KO early on nullifies a lot of the utility that you could have had for the late rounds, especially when it came down to the retakes. Retakes being one of the hardest things on this particular map to do as well. But the positions are still favoring on the other end, and Vera! Flick of the wrist and a slap to the face to end off the life of Delb. The danger man is gone. Now Vera looking for another one. Spots at the body and gets another kill. The tool of force reigning supreme. The sniper rifle in the hands of the chamber is as deadly as ever.
Speaking of deadly, Bryce once again on the flank. We've seen them go huge once they get their opportunity, and if they can get behind them. And yes, Gemma as well. The potential of flanks on both sides right now is nasty, but that timer is ticking and that spike is nowhere near getting planted. Well, as I say that, they want to prove me wrong, and there we go. It's now a post-plant, so timer now working in the favor of Alter Ego, but Bryce ready and waiting, and that's not going to be too fortunate for them. Gemma getting the pick there onto Shun, and Adrian ready and waiting, knows exactly where Bryce is because of that, and there we go. Gorgeous shot. Vera, can they clutch this out? No, they can't. Kush with that final pick there, and that was huge from Kush at the end there.
Yep. Man just held his ground and got the kills that he wanted and needed. But goddamn, Vera, he's just having such a good day as well. Each and every shot is absolutely
Nasty.
crispy. And on this 1-4 scoreline, yeah, you could be saying Ultragear are winning this drastically, but no. They have to fight for the win. They're constantly rotating. They're running down the clock to the last couple of seconds to try and even plant down a spike. And how many members are they losing on these eco rounds? You have to consider that as well. It's a close fight from both ends, and Vera, these aggressive plays are just not working out. But shot, all right, good shot over onto one, but Noxy, what the hell was that spray transfer?
And there we go, B site nice and clear. That collapse is going to come in thick and fast. We do see the side of NoNamers trying to desperately get back. There we go, Bryce and Redco actually getting a pinch, but Adrian King able to trade it back out as Dan desperately tries to delay this planting. I mean, it's Russell for Jimmy's for now. Look at this. The immediate decision. Okay, I'm not going to contest that. And there we go. You take the gunfight, but Dan is ready and waiting for you.
Good shots. But goddamn, Noxy just nearly pulled the entire round back in their favor. Shun got the first initial kill, but Noxy's like, nope, I'm gonna make sure my team gets this done. But it just was not enough. He got the double kill, but Bryce and his positioning and plus what he did there was so smart. Consider it. He used the Viper Spit, correct? Ran over onto the top of the off angle. And as soon as he got on top of the container, he just shut down his Viper ultimate. The Viper Spit was gone. And the Astro was just confused. Where the hell do I aim at?
I think it's really good too that the scoreboard's really reflecting, we're halfway through the first half at the moment and people are lurking around that kind of 1 KPR, and I think that's the ideal that we want to be in. No player really significantly taking the lead with it. We want it to be equal. It just shows the quality of these two rosters right now. And Delb going for the pre-fire through the box, very, very concerned that someone may be lurking, someone may be hiding behind it. And speaking of hiding, bit of a chamber off right now. And there we go, Noxy firing a little bit of a warning shot, but no cigar just yet. Quiet before the storm, Aggie.
It's the calm before the storm. They're just trying to, build the atmosphere before they throw the Rolling Thunder for the play, but that does not affect the site whatsoever. And considering the sheer level of utility on one side to the other, Redco sitting inside of the smoke, that's going to be more Dan with the other one as well. One by one, the bodies are piling up, and the defenders, they have full control over each and every sideline, baby. They're not giving anything up. And with the last players just trying to run around and maybe salvage the pieces. Bryce knows the position, has the angle, has the timing, and with a flawless to boot. A flawless, mind you, here, Grace. Because none of the members of No Name lost a single speck of HP.
And that's it, isn't it? When you delay that collapse, when you delay that approach, and you essentially fall into a site that's so heavily protected like that, it really is a kind of, you've got to swing or be swung, and again, with how much utility was actually being dumped down there on both sides, it ultimately ended up favoring the defense. Yes, granted, no one really could gauge where the other was until they got that line of sight, but as soon as it was coming through, it was NoNamers winning their ones, winning their battles, and as I say, swing or be swung. It's going to be a close one, actually, isn't it, really, this half? Look at this, 3-4. Once again, the quiet before the storm is a lot of pressure in that mid section from Ulti Ego, and Delb ready and waiting, getting that ulti nice and down. Can they find DXN? But DXN's going to shut it down, so that's unfortunate. That's a little bit of an ult waste. Can they get a second one here? Now, it looks like Ulti Ego a little bit Jimmy Russelled here. They're going to try and go for the rotation. But yet again, the Astra utility, Aggie. Who will the other first? And Gemma will take down DXN.
That was a little bit too fast for his own good. Redco again inside of his own smoke. Doesn't hear any of the noise though. That pole coming in perfect from Fade. They have the side, they have the control. And again, these thrifty rounds, how are they so good coming in from both of these teams? And possibly the entirety of Alter Ego, they could just take this round away, no problem. It is a 3 versus 4, but still looking at the positioning of the attackers, they have the entire control.
100%, this is it. Bryce trying to bait for that defuse to go down, and Rightly so. The attacker going to send out a fair bit of utilities to kind of be a little bit of a warning. Bryce actually trying to stick for the fuse. Have any of the attack noticed?
Right.
Bryce able to get the pick down to Adrian King as the trades come through.
What?
Even
Noxie?
more. And wow, what a chaotic end to that round as Noxie, as you say, spinning and getting that pick there onto Shun. And that was really chaotic actually from both sides, Aggie.
Yep. But look at Noxie's position. You can see it on the replay as well, that he was making his route all the way from spawn on towards window, and no one had a single idea that he was present. And because of that exact reason, they expected everyone to be outside of A main. But nope, Noxie went for a big flank. He went in for the rotation, and that rotation alone just got them the win. Perfect.
I think, you know, for saying expect the unexpected,
Yeah.
I think that's the name of this map, isn't it? Like, speaking of unexpected, Delb falling as the opening casualty there as well. So that's that very aggressive entry. Fragger for the side of Alter Ego being snuffled away from play for now. And I mean, Aggie, Bryce is having an absolute field day on this map. We've seen the angles that they're willing to take and how nasty that could be, but a little bit of a sneakeruno onto site B now. If they can get there very quickly and not be contested too badly by the incoming Vera. We've seen them be a little bit of a demon thus far on this map. And look at these shots going through.
Shot,
all that
easy
utility.
kill. One.
Show the flank, beautiful. There we go, Aggie.
Yeah, this 1, 2, 3 possibly. I do believe the Astro Smoke's gonna end in just a little bit here. Considering the position it was in, they already know the Breach's position. He has to be on towards the side of hole. Shun! Where did you go, buddy? You already saw the Breach in the position. Flashes are gonna be coming in. They take the engagement, and Dan. Disgusting. Get this man out of the server already. Adrian takes downfall, and a 4 and 5 scoreline comes in for NoNamers, as I did not expect this side to play out like this. What just happened here?
I mean, I kind of felt like it was going to be nasty. You know, we saw Shun kind of lead the way with Vera to try and contest that site as the spike was going down. And as I say, swing or be swung, they're just landing their shots so well. The utility that Alter Ego are bringing when it comes to that final collapse, it's not quite doing its thing right now, but we've seen a few times, like, again, because of the aggression on both sides, people are willing to push through these smokes. It's like, yeah, okay, use that Astra utility. I'm just gonna dance through it, find your head, doink.
Oh my god. I swear to god, Noxie versus Vera has to be the most depressing and also the most interesting fight we have seen the entire game.
Prowler being sent out, but Vera once again ready and waiting like a snake in the grass, but Shun is behind him to shut that down. Delb and Kush falling. Gemma with the trade-off onto DXN, but Shun ready and waiting yet again. A free K on this round so far, and it's all down to Adrian lurking in the shadows. That Prowler's going to maybe give his position away a little bit as he tries to contest some of these angles, but no one is swinging him just yet, and there we go. Bryce, of course, Bryce is the one to collect that kill. But what do you do in that situation, Aggie? You know, 3 angles being held towards you as you swing a corner. Not the most ideal, like, clutch to be left in. Again, with these clutch situations, you want to be baiting into these 1 versus 1s. If you've got 3 of them in the same corridor, all holding different angles at you, it's difficult to get those picks off.
Listen, that's what we call the power of friendship. Just like in every anime that we've ever seen, the power of friendship will always reign supreme.
This is Adrian crying at the corner as 3 people just have that and bullets fly towards him. Ooh!
Oh god! I fell out of my chair for that one.
From Noxie. Yeah.
What? You what, mate?
Second one there onto Shun, and Bryce getting the pick down to Kush, but Delb trading it back, shutting down any more kerfuffle that Bryce can cause. And there we go, Delb, gorgeous shot down to Redco. 1 versus 4 clutch. I mean, do you save the Vandal at this point, Aggie, or do you try and contest this? Again, Delb ready and waiting. Delb hungry for it. Delb, the aggression that they want to get this final kill under their belt. And I talked about the crossfires. That's a perfect example. Wide angles, multiple lines of sight being held towards you. What can you do in that situation?
Absolutely
but yeah,
nothing.
These picks on the operator coming through from Noxie, a little bit disgusting to say the least.
Yeah, it was absolutely shocked. Both of these shots were perfect. And Noxy using the elevation from over towards Cubby was gorgeous. He just knew what he wanted to do. The rat corner has been changed out on so many of these patches. And he utilized it to perfection, jumping on top, getting the off angle. And poor old Shun had no idea what to expect there. Vera, though, in a very common position, possibly getting caught out by a little bit of the utility, but he has the perfect corner, but he's trying to bait in for Bryce. No one's gonna be clearing him now. They expect no one to be present. Bryce is gonna walk away with the multi-kill. Doesn't get the timing, doesn't go for the trigger play. Only walks away with one, but Vera's there for the double. Get the triple, baby. Get it all done. The 2-4 is coming down strong. They tear through the map. They tear out each and every bit of a hope they could have had to try and win out this round, and it's all up to Kima. Gets one, but that's it.
One at least. Enough time to work with, so again, if they play this patiently, they could potentially go for a little bit of a flank again, though the side of NoNamers not willing to be baited into these 1v1s. Look at that, pushing together. The Cosmic Divide even coming through as a little bit of a desperate effort to try and make something work. But Gemma, you're in the worst situation you can be in. Find these heads separately. Shun spotting him out. However, there we go. The call out comes through, and Vera, they're fourth for this round. And I mean, Vera just made it look so easy.
The man has confidence galore. He's overflowing with it at this point.
Look at that. Like, oh.
He just
disgusting.
swung and swung. He didn't stop for even a single second. 2-4 seems to be his rifle of choice, because as soon as that sniper comes out, the man turns into a demon possessed.
It's going to be an interesting one now that we are switching sides. And looking at the util on the side of Alter Ego, I am really curious to see if we see an overextension from Dalb in this first defensive round for them. Again, just an immediate rush up towards the enemy. It could be risky though, so place your bets now, I guess. I think it's really nice to actually see that Alter Ego are holding that mid as well. Would you say, Aggie?
Yep. We do get the 2 minutes of tactical timeout, which is quite normal here, to give the teams a little bit of an opportunity to just talk to each other and try and figure out exactly what happened in the previous couple of rounds and what really went wrong for them in the first initial half. Now that the swipe swap has come in, I do believe having that mid control will be very crucial because of one particular aspect. The composition that the members of Alter Ego are running really does favor the mid fight a little bit more. Considering you already talked about it as well previously, that the pincers that could be going in through mid will be the most crucial part of this map. If you're able to pincer your targets really well, then it's easily taken over and you can win it on the defense, which is drastically much more true if you're on the side of Alter Ego, because you have a Neon, you have a Breach who have utility that can go through walls, and the Neon is present to utilize the space being created by that utility. So having that mid control, I do believe for them will be the most key and the most important route for them to try and win out here.
100%. And again, I just think that they can really play into that util in terms of high progression. Say, for example, if Kush and Delb start stacking together, that's going to get nasty very quickly. You have the Prowler go out and a lot of that other Fade utility to kind of hunt out the people that maybe hide around corners. And then you just get Delb to rush at them like it's nobody's business. Again, though, say, for example, they're trying to do that and you've got players like Vera, Shun, and Bryce ready and waiting for them, given the fact that they're having a little bit of a field day themselves. Things could get nasty very, very quickly. I really do think the name of this game in particular right now is Swing or Be Swung. So, again, giving Vera the opportunity to line up against some of these pixel angles as well, because it's not like there's a massive gap where they can like really clearly see you. Sometimes utility's going down and Vera's just poking their head slightly to the left and they're able to see you. They're able to get that shot off, and goodness me, again, really make sure you know where you are culling off these lines of sight, because I think if you give Vera an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yep. It's just more and more surprising as time passes, because again, one of the teams, they've already showcased their mechanical dominance when it comes down to taking swings and the sheer level of confidence that they have showcased already. How do you really want to contest that? How do you really want to fight exactly what could be happening here? On the attacking side, which they have a lot of utility to try and work their way in. As you said it before, it's a slow burn strategy on one end, while they have a lot more aggression on the other. On the defense, on this particular map at least, how much aggression can you really get away with without it being too much? That is what we really need to find out. A couple of lineups coming in from both sides to try and bait out the players on B. So this could be quite interesting because NoNamers, they're going in for a slow start on the pistol round. Oh,
So start. Oh, the doink! The doink onto Nox, onto Vera rather. Noxy, that was a little bit nasty indeed, and it's
Very
really
cheeky.
interesting the confidence there to just go to at the back of sight as that attack decide, yeah, we're not going to contest that. That was a little bit too spicy for our liking. Let's get this rotation through, and at this point, that should be getting called through the defense as well. Timer is ticking, so they need to definitely start to work out where they want to commit to, don't they, Aggie?
yep. They need to start slowly but surely figuring out which side that their utility are going to be utilized in. But looking at the positions on the B side, they don't even care about B. They know that, hey, Noxy is holding down the B side. That means that it's going to be over onto A. They need to brute force their way in with all of their members still being present. A little bit of an iffy fragment coming in from Dan, but it's fine. They need to run their way in towards the side, and the first pick still hasn't gone through. Alter Ego there on a man disadvantage, and yep, the man disadvantage does not bode well for them. 20 seconds left on the clock. Bryce left on his lonesome with only a classic in hand. Nothing that he can do against a frenzy. Cleanup coming in from Kush and Alter Ego. Pretty clean, pretty standard. And that first kill coming in from Noxy just set the
nasty.
entire plan into motion.
It was just so gross. I love moments like that where it's just like this little doink, and this is the instant removal of that player from the server. Again, Alter Ego getting their first round on this defense. It was a nice split on the attack, and I think that kind of will favor them going into this defense. Do you think this map, would you consider it to be more attack-decided or defend-decided?
I would say that this map is heavily favored on the attack because of how many different lines of sight that you can create. And if you have proper mid control, then it's just better for you. But I will have to say one thing in particular, that this map, considering the composition that the members of NoNamers went for, is a lot more defense favored. So they're on their much more weaker side in this particular instance, while Alter Ego, they have a much more balanced.
I mean, ooh, that was nasty. Kush taking down the 3K. Danvir and Shun falling down. Adrian as well getting traded by Bryce. Of course, it's going to be Bryce that has something to say about that. I'll be the last one standing if you want me to, but come on. Take this shot to me. Kush, however, patient, obviously not willing to give that up. And yeah, beautiful duo plays there from the side of Alter Ego. Delve ultimately trading that back out very quickly as Gemma falls down. Bit of Astra on Astra damage coming through, and again Redco very aware of the fact that they are by themselves. The spike is in no man's land as well. Alter Ego firmly plonking down, firmly setting up shot on that spike, so the retake for the spike has to come through, and when there's one at least, could this be a huge clutch about to come through from Redco? Noxy has to be patient with this. Beautiful shot there though, clutching that out before Redco can do anything too nasty. I mean, that got a bit gross at the start by Kush.
Yep. Kush got the triple kill, but at the end of the day, I still say that's a win coming in from NoNamers. They took down 4 guns. Noxy was able to retrieve the Bulldog, so at the end of the day, that's a perfect pickup for them to find it, but that's a very important round that they lost in. Pretty much, losing out 4 guns is a lot more detrimental than the attackers losing out on that particular round. Look at the buys here, Grace. They're forced onto frenzies. They have to save here, otherwise they could be losing any form of momentum they could have built here.
100%. It's like desperate times call for desperate measures, but I mean, we've seen Noxy be relatively okay at landing these shots, so maybe that's something to consider here. Looking for the head of Shun. I think they are aware that there's a little bit of a lurk at the back of this side, but Bryce actually getting the opening engagement onto Delb of all people as well, so that's a lot of aggressive, speedy utility taken away, and potentially going to cause a little bit of a rustle.
Tough spots all around. Bryce got the first initial kill on towards Delb, so they lost out their star fragger pretty early on. Neon's not present, so they can't even play aggressive. They need to play each and every one of their sides in a much more defensive manner. But looking at Redco's position, they have the A side to themselves. It's completely empty. The defenders are not the wiser for any of it.
None the wiser indeed. This collapse can just come through it nice and safely, and you know, giving away the site for free like that. Look how much util that they can start to place down on the side of NoNamers as well. Alter Ego in a bit of a rough spot
Goodbye.
here as they have to go for a retake, but ooh. There we go. Vir and Bryce, lines of sight, taking up Noxie and Gemma. Adrian falling as well as Sean gets their one down. It's all left down to Kush at this point. What do you do, Aggie? Do you even want to contest this? I mean, the attempt was there, but Vera also there.
Yeah, you just can't win that round, not in this situation. They gave up the side, they found an empty one to boot, plus the stronger weaponry were in the hands of NoNamers, so there's no way you can win that round in particular. Maybe I would say they could have won the round if they went for a full-on collapse themselves by using a little bit of the utility that they had left from previous, but they were spread too far in between to go in for something like that. 7 and 8, pretty standard. They won out on the pistol round, they won out on the anti-eco. And of course, they lost out when it came down to the buy round. Stronger buys coming in from the defenders this time around, with both of the teams playing on a much more even playing field. But seemingly, when it comes down to the utility and the slow burn strategies that NoNamers are going for, it's working from them quite well. And Delve, ouch, that's gonna hurt. And no heal to try and mitigate that damage.
No, not indeed. Kush ready to find if anyone is lurking around this corner. The pre-fire is coming through as a warning phone. Bryce sending out a little bit of poison just to rustle the jimmies of there. Gemma ready and waiting though. Again, all of these team members, they've split themselves up in a nicer way this time. They're really making sure that they have that presence across the map and they're keeping that map control. No immediate engagements. I mean, I say that, but Adrian about to swing on to Bryce, but Bryce is ready and waiting. The pick going down, and can they get a second one? Not just yet, having a little bit of a wiggly to make sure that no one is about to come and trade it out. But of course, that rotation coming through as well. But I think Delb may have had a bit of a miscall there, yeeting themselves all the way to A, as only 2 of the players of Alter Ego are actually holding down this B site. But again, with that neon utility, you can make the rotation quickly, but this could be huge. No one knows Noxie is around the corner. There we go! Can they land it? Oh, that was so close. Kush to the 2K. Noxie taking on Sean. A third one there for Kush onto DXN, and poor Bryce. Bryce left all by themselves. Spike a little bit away from them, but ooh, Kush actually falling. Could they clutch this out? Probably not. 4 seconds on the clock. There's the third for Bryce in the round, but they need this plant, and there we go. Off the timer alone, unfortunately, Bryce could not trade this out. Bit of a KD pad there. But, I mean, that was... Look at this from Noxie. That was, I mean, a bit of a whiffage. That could have been a lot cleaner. But then you also had Kush come through and get those picks as well. And I think they were so distracted by Kush that they just didn't even think that Noxie could be lurking behind that corner. Very, very clever play coming through from the chamber player. Indeed. Getting a little bit ahead now by at least 2 rounds. That's a nice bit of momentum to start to get on the side of Alter Ego, isn't it, Aggie?
Yeah, Alter Ego finally have their foothold back on towards the map. And I honestly do believe that with this momentum shift, finally, when they have an idea of what the members of NoNamers are trying to do, they can build their strategies and try to adapt slowly but surely to each and every play. But in my eyes, things don't really seem to be favoring them just yet, though. Considering that Alter Ego, they're trying to play much more on default positions, not really using their utility to be a lot more aggressive in that sense. They're trying to play reactive. I like the idea, but this kind of reactive play consistently through maybe 4 or 5 rounds could be bad, but never mind, I take it back. Light up kills for days, and Kush, he's gonna be saving that one for the highlight reels.
Oh, 100%. That was just nasty. But now we're about to see a little bit of a standoff. And there we go. Kush gets the pick onto Redco, but Sean there ready and waiting again. Taking them down. Fade versus Fade. It's what we like to see. And Adrian and Noxie desperately holding on. But Gemma, well, Gemma's not going to let them collapse into sight and allow for their teammates to collect those kills. Gemma wants those kills for themselves. I mean, look at that. Kush, you really got to do it to them. nasty.
Lineups were perfect. And again, going back to the point that we made previously, considering the composition that the members of NoNamers went for, it's not that attack favorite. It's a slow burn, yes, but when you don't have that one duelist to try and maybe, you know, create a bit of space with utility, you're just stuck. You have no idea of how to brute force your way in towards the side without creating a lot of chaos. And that's the problem here. I understand the strategies that the members of NoNamers are going in for. They try to establish map control. They want to utilize the utility that the side of the defenders have to brute force their way in, but they're all funneling through one singular site, and you're going up against a breach. It's just not going to work, and this is what's going to happen consistently. If you funnel in through one side, you're just going to get caught out. Fate Ultimate coming in as well, and the Nightmare is going to catch everything. One by one, they're going to drop their bodies, and the attackers are just stuck. What do they do to try and survive? Maybe Vera can equalize it. A missed kill coming in from Noxy, and a disaster in the making, possibly for the defenders.
Yes, indeed. Cosmic Divide going down. Just to keep them a little bit safe for now. Again, Delb's going to have to make some kind of aggressive push here, but Gemma has something to say of their own. Interesting seeing the Astra utility being utilized on both sides to really make sure this retake can be underway. And here we go. Delb wants to get stuck in thick and fast. Gemma trying their best to actually help Delb, and there we go. The help did come through. Redco actually falling down. That defuse can be stuck, but can Vera try and get this head?
Oh, I love it, Vera. You're so good. The lineup. I really felt maybe a little bit of a push away from the spike defuse, and maybe even just a little bit of a pre-fire to kind of distract Vera a little bit would have been quite useful there, but they just were not aware of the positioning that Vera was holding, and again, they just lined up accidentally, Aggie. It's unfortunate. Do you know what I have to give props to Vera for? The man has balls of steel to just stand there, knowing that the spike is being diffused, and he doesn't care. He's like, I'm gonna wait until the smoke passes. There's no way they're gonna be having enough time to try and even stick that full diffuse. He waited for the perfect play, and the man just did God's work out there. I'm loving the playstyle that Vera is going in for. He's finally gonna get traded out though. And this man is just such a danger to the entirety of Alter Ego. Noxy gave up the angle. Positions are good, but the Headhunter's not going to be able to find its true strike. Push, possibly caught out. Needs to run on away, but still trying to take the engagement of the fight. Woo!
Bryson DXN, Cushion Delb falling, but the refrag needs to come through at thick and fast, and it's just not there, Aggie, but there we go. Adrian taking down Stun, and that is a spike down on the floor, but ultimately, we have the numbers advantage. We will doink your heads off, and we will get another round on the board, bringing us just at your heels now, 9-10. Whew. Do what's actually a little bit, not concerning, but a little bit like wowsy mode is the fact that we thought that this map would be a lot more favored towards Alter Ego. It is very, very close. And then the second map, of course, will be Ascent, where we already did determine that would be close indeed. I think we have a scorcher of a best of 3 on our hands.
Want to play? Let's play.
We just have to see how the end product's going to look, because either way, I don't know anymore if this is going to be a 2-0. I gave the prediction that there's a possibility for it, but at this stage, I don't think it's going to happen. Vera, are you actually going to go in for this shot for the Tootsies? If he does, that's going to be incredible. This is one of the most cheekiest angles that you can hold as a chamber player. I like to hold this, but unless you have a 240 Hz monitor, I don't think you're going to get away with it. Maybe you can get one for yourself back at home, ladies and gentlemen, by checking on Amazon India. The Diwali sale's going on, but less for the plugins, more for the match. Both of the teams, they're not really going in for anything hyper-aggressive just yet. Vera's on the back foot of this, slowly working his way up. Team up! He nearly got killed. Vera, you're a criminal. There's no way you hit that flick through the wall.
Things are a little bit spicy now, as we like to say, quite before the storm, but this storm needs to start coming through. Vera again looking for the Tootsies, as you say. Redco starting to yeet that utility down. Delb ready and waiting to stampede themselves through it, though, and it's going to get nasty around this A side. This collapse needs to start coming through as Vera as well, hunting for the heads of those attackers. Can Delb make an approach here? Yes, they can. DXN falling down. Vera as well. Shun, Bryce, and Redco. What a cleanup from the side of Alter Ego. And as you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that was a flawless, a very patiently played defense for what was essentially a full team collapse at the end there. Again, we could pull it down to the timer ticking and a bit of flustering coming out there from the side of NoNamers, but again, Alter Ego edging themselves closer and closer to that match point. NoNamers really need to start making something work for themselves to get themselves to an 11-11 situation. They cannot risk pulling this to match point at all, Aggie.
That was such a risky Viper split as well. They had no control over the side. They had no idea what could be awaiting for them in the back. The Viper split just worked against them, and the defenders were able to utilize it perfectly. It's rough and it's tough, but when it just gets even harder, you need to try and figure out a plan. But it feels as though the members of NoNamers, they're cracking under the pressure. Look at the level of control they could have gone for, but instead they're going in for a hard strat push. Noxie's gonna be able to get the shutdown play. Finally, Vera goes down. And that's one of the biggest hard hitters on your team, just completely taken off the board when you need him the most as well. It's match point right around the corner. You cannot not have him alive here.
Go Viper Wall going up, and actually you're going to see yet again Alter Ego prepared fully to just tank some of that util being sent towards them by NoNamers, but the information game is being played as well by NoNamers right now. That's going to give them, there we go, the information they need, but no, Alter Ego ready and waiting. Look at that cleanup as the board goes wild there. I mean, the kill feed just turned into a disco light for a second there, didn't it? Goodness me. Goodness me. And this is the thing, we are seeing that they're really leaving it to the last minute to make these collapses, and then it's just a bloodbath. Maybe they are getting a little bit frazzled here.
I don't know about this, Grace. Looking at the strategies that NoNamers are going in for, it doesn't make any sense. They have a composition that allows them to be a lot more precise in the way that they can take map control, but they're not establishing any form of map control. Did they really give up on this particular map is the real question.
And this is the issue too. The Tour de Force is ready. Delb's ult as well, and this could get nasty very quickly. But for now, Kush trying to contest it a little bit. Prowler going out. They get one, but it's immediately traded out by Shun. But this is the issue. A 4-4, and you've still got those two ults on the table on the side of Alter Ego that could really put a spanner in the works, so to speak. And well, there we go. Vera actually shutting down Adrian. Redco holding this tight corner now, and look at this flank coming through all the way through the bottom spawn from the side of Alter Ego, because they want to be able to contest this. Noxie,
perfect shot.
Beautiful shot there, gorgeous. Shun falling down.
I love the fact that Noxie just went in for the run back. He doesn't want to risk it, but Vera, the chamber duel still favoring him in some cases. Gets a beautiful shot over onto one, and they're still surviving. Right on the edges of victory, Vera just comes in down from the top. And on the top rope, he jumps down with a body slam, but he was just way faster for that play. Still alive, still kicking, but Redco's gonna be able to send him back to his grave. 10-12, and the possibility of an overtime seems to be upon us here. But will the fat lady start singing here immediately after this round? I don't know. There's a possibility for a win.
As in this reality.
There's, especially again, I'm quite surprised. I mean, maybe they just wanted, Gemma to have their ult up as well before they start using those ults to their full advantage. But that's the thing that's really gonna set them ahead right now. If they can propel themselves forward by doing a bit of an ulti dump, that could work out quite well. They don't really want to get to the point where NoNamers are the ones getting the rounds on the board, and then their ults are up ultimately themselves, especially when you've got the Astra ult now available. Again, probably safe for the late round, but for now, players ready and waiting in these corners. Again, I love how much in this map, again, as we say, the mid presence is just so strong, and I think Alter Ego is really playing into that. It's just this full team collapse that might come through from NoNamers can get nasty very quickly, but will that ult come through from the Astra? Only time can tell, Aggie.
Wait, what is this? Looking at the minimap, this is so weird. Look at the player split. 4 people on mid, 1 person on the A side. This could go horribly wrong. But at the same time, this could go horribly right as well.
The thing is, if NoNamers are able to dump that utility, there we go. That utility is completely spin off, so that rotation from the side of Ultragear needs to come through at the south. Now, I mean, there we go. That's a start. Delb getting the pick there on to Bryce, but they're still going to try and contest the side of the A side. Shun getting the pick there on to Gemma, and Adrian taking down Shun in retaliation is a good trade. Trades across the board. Redco and Adrian having something to say about these teammates falling down as Kush attempting to prevent this fight from going down.
Nice
That was a beautiful swing there. Vera falling down, all left down. The poor Astravel, Redco, and the duo pinch coming through. A beautiful cleanup there by Alter Ego, and that has ultimately led their way to victory.
It's just perfect all around. 10 and 13. I expected this to happen as soon as NoNamers opted to go in for a full-on utter execute from... I mean, it just doesn't work, not with the composition that they were running. It's pretty rough, but again, I really hope they don't take this loss to heart. They did a pretty good job at the end of the day to try and stabilize themselves, but maybe if they took a tactical pause, things could have been a lot more different. They lost out on so many of those rounds that I don't know. I expected them to take that pause to try and reset themselves because the team just felt as though they ran out of strategies, even though they had an idea and a plan in mind. With the composition that they had, though, it just didn't work out.
I mean, I think we've been a little bit spoiled there, to be honest. I feel like, okay, that's quite a nice thing to happen. I thought that would be a lot more weighted towards Alter Ego. The fact that, you know, yes,
true.
it was still a full win by Alter Ego, but the round differential was so close. It did get very scrappy at times too, especially, again, for those mid-sections. We said it was going to get nasty, and it did. I think we're going to have a little bit of these match highlights just to once again refresh our memory. But it was getting so gross, especially in that midsection. We saw some gorgeous players coming through. Absolutely, like, again, this is the thing, the trades, Aggie. That's the most important thing. You don't want to see the scoreboard completely light up red or completely light up green. You want to see that constant back and forth on both sides. This is a matchup made in heaven. It is so good to see. The fact that they're able to put the pressure on each other, the fact that these swings are coming through, these duo pushes as well, in order to make sure that they're getting the trade-off on both sides. It's gorgeous stuff to see.
Especially when you have highlight players like this. Like, goddamn, Del just ran in and Vera was on fire on this chamber. He single-handedly, I believe, won them about, what, almost 6-7 rounds just by himself. The impact that man had on this particular map was insane. And same goes for the other side of the spectrum, Delb and then Noxy. Noxy's on the bottom of the scoreboard. But honestly, tell me here, Grace, do you really believe he deserves to be at the bottom? No. He had the most impact frags out of everyone on his team. That's how good he played for the side of Alter Ego.
100%. I think the chamber plays in general were really gross. Again, Vera, as an example, was just absolutely disgusting on this map. And I think we are going to see more of him kind of show up in the next coming map. Again, we are about to go into Ascent, and consider the long lines of sight that can be held on a map like that. Consider that midsection. It's going to get nasty very quickly. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it. This is the best game that we could have even wanted to cast, to be honest, on this lovely Sunday. It's been absolutely phenomenal. And I think the fact that it's not only, you know, it's a best of 3, so we get to see both these rosters go head to head for potentially another 2 maps. And that's really exciting. And as I say, we have truly been spoiled here.
Yep. The first initial game just paints a completely different picture to what we theorized before. You were expecting a
100%.
complete and utter wash coming in from Alter Ego, considering what they have done in the past and the experience of the team. But NoNamers just can come in on a completely different light. They're showcasing that they can rise up to the challenge and be a proper contender. But what they really need to focus on are those resets. One of the most key and the most important parts about playing in a team is knowing how to reset your mentality and also reset your own play style. They just fell into a trap and fell into a loop where they tried to go in for the same plays over and over and over again. But when it came down to the clutches and the individual skill from NoNamers, I have to say that they did outshine Alter Ego in a lot more cases than one.
Yeah, 100%. Again, the clutch situations, the moments where they really needed to get those more impactful kills for anything. It wasn't about cleaning up the entire team. It was more about getting those kills that counted. Again, are you getting kills that are really rustling there? Jimmy's to the point where the spike has been dropped down in no man's land. Are you managing to get these kills that's shutting down that collapse and that's preventing that approach from coming in and the execute to ultimately go through the full way? Again, hesitance is kind of a bit dangerous when it comes to teams, isn't it? Like, if you're hesitating too much, especially if you are trying to commit to an execute, it's just going to go south very, very quickly. I mean, rightly so. Look at this. The MVP on the side of NoNamers, of course, is Vera. Absolutely phenomenal player, especially on that chamber. We saw some disgusting shots. And again, rightly so, on the side of Alter Ego, no surprises there, of course. Kush being there as the MVP. 9 times out of 10, it's either Delb or Kush. That's what we expect with this roster. So, of course, Kush is going to be there. But Vera, blimey, they had a gorgeous run of it on that first map.
Yep. So I think they can pat themselves on the back for this one, saying that we lost it out, but at the end of the day, it's not really that big of a loss now, is it? They can wait, they can chill, they can just mentally reset themselves, head on down over onto their stronger map. Ascent is one of their best maps. They've played it so consistently. Their statistics are proving that they should be the ones to take that win there. But at the end of the day, the map will always favor the team that is a lot more foundationally sound there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, the fact that, it went to the 23rd round and Vera is on a perfect 1 KPR, given that it was so close. I really do think we haven't seen the last of him yet. And again, Ascent, consider the layout of that map, Aggie, and how gross that is going to get for these chamber players.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see what happens, but I'm also low-key scared for both sides for some of the shots that they're going to have to deal with. And again, there is a potential here for it to go all the way to Haven, isn't there? Like, there is the potential of that. And again, looking at the defense attack start, that will maybe favor Alter Ego more. But if NoNamers can turn around and absolutely slam it down on this map, which I truly believe they can based on what we saw on that first map, we're in for an amazing series here.
It's going to be a long one indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure to get strapped in, get your lunch, get your dinner, wherever you are in the world, because it's going to be a long one, that is for certain. Both of these teams evenly matched in more regards than one. We are all pleasantly surprised here. But for the map of Ascent, you're expecting a chamber to come in, but there's a good possibility there may not be a single chamber. There could be a Killjoy instead. One of the strongest compositions is with the Killjoy, so we just have to wait and see how this one is going to pan out. We're going to be heading on down into a short little break, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out all the links down below in the description, and we'll be right back after a short word from our sponsors. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LG Ultra represents the Esports Club Challenger Series for the VCT off-season, powered by Amazon India, with our GPU partners being Zotac Gaming, gaming partners being Intel, memory and storage partners being Crucial, laptop partners being Asus, and of course our broadcast partner being Loco. Each and every time I do this, it's gonna get longer and even more difficult to say, but our lovely sponsors are making all of this possible. So make sure to check out all the links down below in the description. I can't even speak. But do I really need to speak considering the games that we have been having? It's just incredible. 13 and 10 right off the bat. And honestly, it's just going to get even more heated as we head on down over onto Ascent.
100%. As you say, it's been an incredible first map for this best of three. Really didn't expect it to go that way, to be honest, as we were saying in the last map. We really expected Alter Ego. They've had a lot more experience as a roster under their belt, so we expected them to kind of take it away on the, I guess, kind of unusual pick of Pearl. Yes, it is a new map in the map pool, but we still don't see a lot of teams wanting to go to it. They want to stick to those kind of golden oldies, so to speak. But now, speaking of golden oldies, we are indeed going to go to Ascent, and this is where things could really, really spice up. Both teams play a pretty decent Ascent. I think that 71% win rate on the side of NoNamers when they come to this map thus far. So they are a force to be reckoned with on it. And again, potentially we will have another close matchup on our hands.
There's a possibility, but at the same time, considering Alter Ego have already won out of their first initial map with pretty, I would say, strong wins coming in from their side. Their picks were good, their team play and synergy was perfect, and that's a stark contrast between both of these teams. Individual skill-wise, NoNamers just completely outclassed Alter Ego in more cases than one, considering a couple of the rounds, especially when it came down to Vera. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Alter Ego, who purely were able to dominate NoNamers because of their team play and synergy. The crossfires that they set up were just chef's kiss level of perfection. You can't 100%. Get anything better than that. And on Ascent, where the foundation is the most important, I always will consider this. There is no other way that you can even try to convince me that Ascent is not one of the maps where your foundation is tested the most heavily. This is the map where Valorant is born. This is the map where a team can showcase their greatness by being the best of the best here, because everyone knows how to play this map. Each and every team loves this map in particular as well. And if you're the very best on the map that each and every team played, that means you are the best in the entire world when it comes down to this game.
100%. It's again, especially with best of threes, yes, we do often see things like your Ascents, your Havens, but I think the fact that there's been a bit of a Jimmy Russell from the get-go with that Pearl pick, again, going into this, one thing I really, really want to keep my eye on is the use of timeouts if they're needed. We saw that not really come through as much on Pearl. I think if you feel like you're getting the pressure on you too much, just take that tactical timeout and have a moment of like, okay, we need to mix this up a little bit, focus on what utility that we're bringing and where specifically we can place it. Again, though, I do think that NoNamers did a really good job of getting their lineups on point, and I do think that there were moments where actually Alter Ego, to be fair, they were kind of falling almost into NoNamers' hands, and there were a lot of rounds where it really was just a case of swing or be spun. It was whoever was seeing the person first was getting that kill off. We saw some really nasty flanks. We saw some really nasty lines of sight being held. And I completely agree. That's going to translate across into Ascent very nicely. But in Ascent, we might see a bit more intel on the board. Again, do you think we'll see kind of some Sova Cypher action on this map, Aggie?
Cypher, maybe not. He's like the middle child that everyone forgot about in this game. So let him just, sit in the corner and just be invisible. But I do believe a Killjoy, there's a possibility. Considering the compositions that we have seen in the past when it comes down to champions, a lot of teams, especially Loud, who are now currently the world champions, of course, they love to pick up the Killjoy because of how versatile the Killjoy can be in holding down sightlines, plus having that lockdown available to just immediately go in for a retake just allows you to be a lot more dynamic in the way that you play this particular map. But Sova, I do believe, could be a strong pickup, but a lot of teams have shifted away from the Sova and started picking up the Fade, because the way that Fade utility works, and the fact that the Fade utility is
Yeah.
slightly better, I would say. Don't quote me on this, or don't spam my Instagram DMs
I
or my
mean-
Twitter DMs for this. I'll say that the Fade Prowlers are a lot better than the Owl Drone in the current patch. If it was old Sova Drone, then I would personally say Sova all day, every day. But Fade just outshines Sova in more ways than one.
I think it depends how you want to play that intel game. You know, the thing with Fade is you have to be in these very tight, close quarters engagements. You have to be like, okay, I'm getting that information, but I'm reacting to it quickly. Whereas with like Sova as an example, you can get these long kind of shots with it. You can get the intel potentially on, you know, way further away than they would imagine it to be. And you don't have to immediately react to that information. It's more about the information that you're giving to the rest of your team. Whereas with Fade, unless you're duo pushing, you're the one that has to really react to that info. Yes, you can give the call outs, but 9 times out of 10, you're the one being like, okay, there's someone round the corner. I know exactly where they are. I'm going to go for this swing. Someone come with me, or, you know, try and get that trade if it goes horribly wrong. But 9 times out of 10, I will land my shot. So it's an interesting one. It depends on whether you want to play aggressive or whether you want to play a bit more passive, a bit more safe. And I think that's really going to indicate where that information game is going to be used. Killjoy as well, of course, you do have some amazing work that ult can create, because you essentially just lock down that entire site, and retakes can be very, very difficult. But even for the old bait and switch, we've seen many times how tournaments can go and people actually use that Killjoy ult as a bait. And I love those moments like that. It is really funny actually to witness. And I think we might see a bit of that, not from a baiting point of view, but certainly in terms of that ultimate being used to completely clear a site. Again, this is two teams that are willing to be hyper-aggressive against each other. We think about the sight lines. If you stick down the Killjoy ult and you can't get in there, you can't take that gunfight, you can't get that line of sight, that's an easy execute for the attack, or even for the defense, it's an easy retake. So completely agree with you saying that we're probably going to see a little bit of Killjoy action.
Yeah. The Killjoy action, I do believe, is much more in the favor of Southeast Asian teams. But for our South Asian squads, we have seen them shift away completely from that Killjoy and start picking up a Chamber instead in some cases. Chamber also very powerful because the way that he can take duels. But in Ascent, it's one of those maps that, yeah, you can take a duel, you can take an engagement, you can win it out, of course. But at the end of the day, when you have some utility, maybe a jet to take fast entries, why would you want to pick up a Chamber in that instance? Chamber is strong when you're trying to work your way in for a pick. When you're trying to maybe just brute force your way in, possibly find that first initial pick, run your way back, and then you're completely fine. But that's not how it goes here. The jet is used to get a lot of space on this map. And when you have those fast entries and you have that way of brute forcing your way in towards the side to gain a lot of space quickly, that is what you need to play around with. Plus, of course, I'm going to have my own personal bias here just a little bit. I just want to see Del play that jet. I miss him on that jet. You know for a fact he is the deadliest force on that particular agent. And the way that he can carve the entire map into his own playground is what I really want to see from him. He had a very quiet first initial game. Not really the Del that we know and love, but I do believe on Ascent is where he will really be activated.
And this is it, when you've got one of the older maps like that, yes, if they do go on the jet as well, so loads of movement there, and op maybe in pocket as well, yeah, Delb can absolutely have a field day with this. We've seen how they can be a stunner gunner before. At the same time, again, I really do think that Kush is going to be a one to watch out for as well. The way that those two can play around each other at times is really, really nice. And again, there's no IDN team, but there certainly is some nasty headshots that can happen when they want to play the trade game. And that was the most important thing we saw actually on map number 1. And that's why it did get so close, because the trades were just constantly going through and through and through and through. We'd love to see the cost statistics at the end of this weekend for some of these players, because they were just consistent at refragging their teammates. And I do think that's a really important thing for people to be picking up on. I just think this is going to be another close one, but again, ideally for NoNamers, like they need it to be close, and they are the ones that need to be taking it to the victory. The only kind of not so much Russell that I have about it, but more like my main fear for the side of NoNamers is that if it goes to that third map, again, it's a very attacker favored map, and they will be starting on their defense on Haven. So that's not really going to benefit them too much, especially again, we talk about the importance of trades and how much those trades were enabling them to keep the round kind of a bit more back and forth. And that's going to be difficult on that third map because you're so split up from one another. How can you get into the right positions 9 times out of 10 to get those trade-offs? A lot of duo play and even solo play, but that's the issue. It's they need to win, but then it's like, if they do win, will it all be for nothing? Will it get very chaotic and flustered for them on that third map? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but yeah, I'm fingers crossed for them. Again, I want it to go the third way, but I think that third map will be tricky if it does.
It's not that favorable for NoNamers. Again, you just said it perfectly. I don't really have much to add, especially due to what happened in the first initial map. The game just, at the end of the day, NoNamers just felt completely disconnected as a team at the end of the day. They didn't really reset themselves, and Haven is one of those maps that you really need to have those proper resets. And unless they worked on those problems, maybe possibly understood that, hey, maybe taking a couple of timeouts here and there will give us an opportunity to get a much more tactical approach going, it would be better. But the same goes for the side of Alter Ego for the map of Ascent. Ascent, very snowball heavy map compared to what the other maps are in the map pool. So I really hope that a lot of teams start taking these tactical balls. I don't know. I feel as though I'm trying to beat a dead horse at this point.
No, it's fine.
Doesn't matter which game I'm playing, which game I'm casting. People just forget that there's something called a tactical timer.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Because it's not just this idea of like, let's have, well, this is it. It's not just a moment to be like, okay, let's just go back to square one with the strategy here. Like, we need to change this. It also allows you just a bit of breathing room. Like, if one of you is getting flustered, as an example, we often overlook the importance of the mental game within, you know, competitive esports. And it's so important. You need to be able to be on it. You need to be able to kind of sit there and be like, okay, quick breather, just reset for a second. Everyone is reset, shake your hands off a little bit. Let's go in with this plan. Well, this is how it will work. And that's also, like, as you're saying that, it's almost comforting in a way for your kind of IGL to be like, this is what we're going to do, guys. It's going to be fine. Again, IGLs, it really does mean that you need to have a really good, a lot of pressure, but you need to trust in your IGL to actually be saying those things and calming you all down and giving you the plan that you're going to use to actually secure that dub. So again, both sides I think would be able to do that. It's just utilizing that timer, as you say. We need to see that more, especially when the going does start to get tough. But it is something that we have seen a lot so far this weekend. But I think it's almost funny really when it's an aggressive team. It's like everyone's so hyped up to just get into the action and go for these fights and take these kills, then maybe there's something to do with that. Maybe it's the fact that they're so focused and tunnel visioning into it, they forget that it actually exists. And they're like, no, we could just go and win. Let's get our kills. Bye. Agent select.
That's a resource thing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, Kush locking into the Sova. So it's as I say, you know, we were wondering what kind of intel we'd see on the board from both of these sides, and Kush locking into that Sova on the defense to start with. Again, this indicates a very passive intel gain for the side of Alter Ego. So that's going to be certainly one to watch out for. But we do have the fade on the side of No Name.
Are they really doing this? Triple Initiator? I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, they're actually going for this.
I feel it's a slow burn there, isn't it? It's a slow burn when you're taking that much util. It's really, really working the map control as priority at that point. You are taking the time, taking the steps to just go through and keep as much ground as possible under your belt based on the util that you're bringing. So it's a spicy one. It's a spicy one, Aggie. You just seem so... You're stunned. You're shocked. The man is lost for words, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I have no idea how they're going to play this. Again, when you have a lot of utility in your arsenal, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm really scared whenever I see a lot of utility in the hands of any team from our region. Let it be SCA or SA, because we have still to see how the teams are going to utilize this much utility. Sometimes they forget they have the utility available and start to just take swings without any form of regard for their own safety or utilizing the utility as well. We've seen them yesterday as well, day before yesterday, sorry, when it was Made in Thailand going up against Todak, where Made in Thailand just did not use a single bit of their utility. It happens quite often, and I'm really hoping this is not going to be the case here in this instance. And okay, never mind. Mira, just hold the WP down, man, and don't let it go. Tape it down to your keyboard, because he's just running it aside and he's just taking over each and every fight. Good God. NoNamers, they just ran in and had no remorse whatsoever. Good catch.
I actually love that. I love the fact they were like, do you know what? It's the opening pistol round. Let's just go for it. We are a map down. We have to try something a little bit outside of the box. And the Fade going through as well. And it's, you know, their lineup there, their agent lineup, it much favors that more aggressive approach. And this is the interesting thing that's going to be pretty much putting the pressure on Alter Ego right now is their utility. Again, it's that slow burn, it's that maintenance of the map control. But that wasn't there right now. But we could put that down to the first round just being a case of they've just rushed us and we weren't expecting it, because who does really? Who expects that? A full team rush up mid as well, Aggie. A full team rush up mid. No one was actually holding mid, I don't think, there on the side of Alter Ego, but correct me if I'm wrong. And maybe an exit frag coming through there. No!
Oh my God, that's big!
No! Bryce is actually gonna take down Gemma, so I mean, goodness me.
I guess it's okay. Again, they don't really need to survive that one. They can just run around with it, move forward to the next round, and go in for proper buys. I like the idea that they're going in for. Look at the buys from the side of NoNamers. They're opting for 2 Bulldogs, a single Vandal, and 2 Spectres. They have very powerful guns to carry forward into the next round if they do win here. But this could work either way. If you lose that Vandal, if you lose a single Bulldog, then your entire team could be staring down the barrels of a massive fat loss.
That's very interesting indeed as well. They just kind of have this hesitance. You see the kind of angles being held towards Fish, like someone was going to run out of it suddenly. They were so aggressive in that first round. They think they were going to be met with aggression of their own there, but it's just not coming through. Obviously, even the call out that Fish is free, but it actually isn't. This could be the perfect bait because the rotation through mid is actually going to start coming through from the side of Alter Ego. And if they want to pounce now, they certainly can. But it looks like they're willing to take this gunfight to mid. And this is going to be a bloodbath, Aggie. There we go. DXN and Bryce and Vera all picking up 1 apiece. That defense is fully whittled down. Can Adrian hold back this approach? They have it in number. They know where he is. But there we go. The press keeper faces Vera falls. But Shun and Redfo are there to clean up shop. I mean, this is so aggressive. I'm here for it.
I love that play. They knew what to expect. They read them like an open book. That's what happens normally on the map of Ascent. If you're pressed for information and you're on an eco round, you're of course going to push mid. All the members of NoNamers just casually walk their way through mid, set up the crossfire from mid top and also from tiles. Perfect execution all around. They shut down the defenders before they got a lot of aggressive picks, and that's all that they needed. They have 3 powerful guns being carried forward into this round, and they're more than happy to play around with them.
Here's the thing, they're mixing things up, going for a full A collapse right now. DXN taking on Gemma as Adrian trades it back onto DXN, but this is what I mean. The defense have been fully locked out of sight now. All this utility dump from the side of NoNamers, and that spike can go down once that door is secure and down too. There we go. Shun going for the plant as Vera holds Heaven. Very close up, but it's going to be a full team rush from Heaven. Delp getting that initial opening pick onto Vera, and that's going to place in the load a little bit, but Shun is ready and waiting to take down Push, and obviously with the trade-off.
Oh, what a shot!
Delp onto Bryce. There we go. They've managed to go for the retake, and that diffuser can be stuck. I mean, incredible, really, actually. I know NoNamers lost that, but it's the fact that the last 3 rounds, they've mixed it up every single time. They've gone so aggressive. They're pushing as a team, and it's again this idea of, you know, last time we saw how they were there constantly for the refrag. That really plays into it, in my opinion, for them. If one of them goes down, the trade is almost instant. And, you know, hats off to Alter Ego. They played that so well. They really did manage to get that retake under their belt. Pushing as a team themselves. It's this constant trade and team game we're seeing on both sides, Aggie.
I am with you.
Yep.
We are strong.
I love each and every second of it. Both of these teams, they have an idea of what the opponents are doing, and they're constantly counter-stramming to try and go up against it. The fast rush has been stopped coming in from the attackers, but then again, it's not that big of a stop here at the end of the day, considering the buys are still available. Vera once more going aggressive over towards the mid side, but this time around, they're expecting it. Crossfires have been set, and especially due to that one particular smoke, Vera has such an aggressive position, and I don't believe they're going to be expecting him for this one.
No, this could be huge. They do have a crossfire there, though. Kush holding market. And the smoke going up is going to allow for Delb to go for a little bit of a rotation, but the owl coming through, and that's really going to give us a lot of information. I'm not sure actually if it's spotted out there, though, so that could be massive. Adrian, however, would have been noted to have been lurking around there. Is going to make their way back up towards heaven, and very spooky stuff, Aggie.
This is bad. Good amount of map control for the members of Alter Ego, but at the same time, NoNamers, they have the entirety of mid for themselves. The timing is everything on the B side, ripe for the picking, and it will be the side of the Jet to try and maybe take it. Vera, good positions for him to try and find maybe a kill over from the top, but nope. Vera knows he cannot play over aggressive, and a 5 versus 5 retake on the cards, and Bryce possibly getting that first kill. If Gima, oh no, the timing!
Ooh. Bryce to the pick there onto Gemma. Boy, you still going out to try and give a little bit of cover here, but Delve, well, they don't care about your cover, but they care about collecting your head. Bryce falling down. Noxie at the back of sight here, desperately trying to prevent this collapse, desperately trying to get this defuse under their belt. And there we go, Noxie with a 2k actually there. Retro Vera falling as Push takes on DXN and Shun. And wow, that defuse, can it be stuck? Do they have time? I think they do indeed. A gorgeous retake there from the side of Alter Ego, drawing us to a 2-2. Even Stevens is what we like to see, and it's what we expected from these two, isn't it, Aggie?
Yep. God damn, Noxie just clean when it came down to the retake. Poor old Redco was not mentally prepared for a swing like that. Noxie just swung him as if he knew exactly which corner he was holding. Confidence is key, and Alter Ego, they're brimming with it. Maybe overflowing as well. They need to be careful. Again, NoNamers, they're starting off on the attacking side, which is a little bit weaker on the map of Ascent at all times. So just trying to survive is their best game plan here, especially with the strats that they're going in for. Already a lot of information gained outside of B main. Vera has the play storm in hand, so it could be the game changer for them. When you have a chamber and a jet, I don't think there's a single round that you can call an eco round at that point.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the Bladestorm ready and waiting around this corner too. I'm surprised a pre-fire for the Wolf didn't come through from Noxie, but they're not willing to take their chances just yet. I think they are aware of this kind of standoff happening here. As Kush pushes for Market, gets the shutdown onto Vera, and that's the Bladestorm off the table. So that's a really impactful kill. Noxie and Kush, one more each. Redco and DXN falling down, and they have detected this Astra, but they can't. Quite, yes, they can find her. The Bryce falls down as the Shun, and there we go, a flawless, absolutely chaotic gunfights happening in that fish market.
Wait, how did he kill him?
Goodness. I've got no idea what happened there. Like, the smoke even obscured our vision, let alone theirs. So the fact that Noxie was able to secure that kill is incredible. Yes, it was a little bit of a spray and pray, but it really set the momentum for that cleanup in fish.
Precise gunplay. That's all I have to say.
Gorgeous. I mean, it's just incredible.
Really is from that, and they get another round for themselves, and the momentum has been set. That, of course, was an eco round. A fadeaway coming in from Delve, and a slap to the face over on the wall. Adrian straight through the smoke, pops a flash, and just pops a couple of pins as well to boot. Shun, absolutely nothing that he can do. Completely getting caught out, completely getting shut down as well. Everyone's trying to run this man down. Flashes, stuns, smokes, throw the kitchen sink at this guy, and then he's gonna be happy about it. 4-2, and ladies and gentlemen, an absolute utter domination of a round coming in from Alter Ego. And now that was something.
Yeah, their
One
jimmies
second,
were
peeps.
rustled by
I
those
gotta
first
visit the
few
Astro to
rounds,
play
weren't
some
they?
stats.
They were like, okay, you're playing the aggression game. We'll show you how to play the aggression game. I love the fact they're starting to go for it now. We're getting some really gorgeous shots through. Again, look at that. Delb, Kush, and Noxie on 6 each. That's a perfect 1k PR thus far. The other ones putting in phenomenal work to win their ones right now. And here we go. Delb. Really a tight angle here. Can they make it work? Yes, they can. The XN falling down as the opening casualty there. The pressure is on. Can they escape? Kush can't escape. Shun with the pick there, and the Blade Storm's going to come through, looking for the head zone. The Astro utility actually blocking that line of sight, so a very chunky safety play by NoNamers with a flank from Noxie. Vera immediately there to trade it back, though, and oh my goodness, it's a bloodbath again. Adrian taking down Vera. Can they find a second? They are going to try and pull back a little bit, and look at this tension now on this mid area. Aggie, the pressure is really on NoNamers.
Enemy remaining.
Gemma gave a nice pick onto Bryce, and poor Shun. I mean, you got the spike, you've got the spike, but it's one man and a dream. Can they get a rotation off? Maybe if they try and be sneaky with it a little bit here, Aggie, make their way into Fish, maybe get to the back of B, but then we need to consider there is a Blade Storm in spawn, ready and waiting. At least that's going to give them the information they need to get the spike down. They know the back of B is clear, so here we go. But the pressure is going to start coming in. Look at the health on Shun. Look at that health. A bit of a tickle and you'll fall over. And you've got a Blade Storm coming towards you. Of all things, Adrian and Del pushing together. I mean, this is it. They've ulted, but it's just Shun. I don't think they know how little health he's on. And this is like sharks chasing down a baby seal. There we go. Gemma getting that pick off, and Adrian is there with the defuse, and that is the 5th round on the board for the side of Ultragear.
Maybe a bit of an overkill coming in from Adrian for that ult, but sure, I guess. I feel bad for that poor guy. How many times has Shun getting killed like this? The last round when they went for an aggressive push from mid, the guy had an Astro Stun, a Fade Prowler, a Jet Smoke, a Jet updrafting on top of him with a Classic, and then another flash coming in from Adrian, and then he died. And in this round, he had what? A Stun coming in from the Astra, a Jet Smoke running in with a Blade Storm, and then a Null Command from the KO. They don't like him at all.
It's mental. It's such a utility dump for this one person, especially when they had little health. But speaking of health, both teams currently looking to take away the health for that opening entry pick. Bit of intel coming out for Kush and Shun respectively. Again, two very different types of intel use. Bryce, as you say, nice shot there onto Gemma. And once again, a quiet before the storm. We're probably going to have another mid-bloodbath if these flanks come through from that B. And there we go, the ulti coming through from the Fade. And that's going to really start to put the pressure here onto this A side. But those calls should come through. Beautiful trades there on both sides. Push with a second there onto Vera.
Oh my god!
Oh, yes, they can! DXN falling down. Bryce and Redco, though, finally shutting down the absolute domination that we've just seen on this A side, and poor Del all by themselves. The smoke goes out. The Astra ult blocking the line of sight though, and this can be a little bit spicy indeed. Can they find the heads? Desperately trying to make it work. They know that plant is starting to be stuck down, but they need to be careful of this swing on the right hand side here. There we go, the desperate shots coming out. They get one. Redco falling down. Can they get the second? A bit of a whip here on both sides as both players desperately. Yes, he can. There we go. Bryce falling down, and that is Delb. A gorgeous clutch there for the side of Alter Ego.
Clutch.
Save me.
Oh, my back hurts.
My medical bills are not getting paid for by this. I swear to you not. I need insurance at this point.
Like, our hearts checking afterwards, aren't we? Goodness, I mean, that was a good clutch. This was a little bit of a ringing around the rosy moment on that heaven spot there from the both sides. Both sides having a little bit of a whiff fest there, but ultimately the shot came through. I mean, you know, Alter Ego, they are starting to take this away a little bit now. I don't want to jinx it too much, but it's been strong the last few rounds.
Hey, as long as you're not Universe, you're fine. The man has jinxed so many games for me. It's like, oh, it's gonna be a 2-0. I end up sitting for like about 6 hours doing a cast just because of him.
Right.
For this game in particular, it seems to be a fast take coming in from the attack, but no, he's not giving anything away. Delp nearly got the other one, but Kush, shutdown kill coming in with the Hunter's Fury. Takes out one more, and Vera, that was such a crucial kill for him to find. Misses the shot, but they still have the sight to work with at the end of the day. That's more than enough to survive, but not enough yet. Spike gets dropped, Vera all by himself. Shock dart to boot us. At the end of the day, the Hunter becomes the hunted. That's Kush. He's not letting up the steam at all. An alter ego. They're taking NoNamers down a couple of eggs here. 7-2. That's a rough scoreline to try and come back from.
100%. It's like, you know, alter ego completely reading into the fact that NoNamers are mixing it up, or at least trying to mix it up every single round. I mean, the first 2 rounds certainly got their jimmies nice and rustled, but they've just adapted so well to the chaos, to the aggression that NoNamers are trying to bring here. And again, speaking of aggression, nice little push now through Fish to try and start to apply this pressure early. Full team wonder for now. Kush is trying to make sure that the mid is nice and clear, sending out the owl drone there, and that's going to allow them a little bit of information to know that if a flank is coming through, we need to be ready and waiting for it. And here we go. I think Kush is very aware of that flank coming through now. A little bit of a warning shot to try and alert them that, yeah, we know you're trying to push this, so try and do your best. But, well, the side of Ultigo, their best right now is a immediate retraction, an immediate push to their initial first plan. The push from Fish is underway. Look at this, Vera steaming in, but it's shut down by Noxy there, and Delve ready and waiting with the op. This could be huge. Kush gets the pick onto Bryso, but the plan is indeed going down. The Prowler going through to try and get some information, desperately trying to get that information they need, and there we go. Kush with the pick onto Shun. Noxy trying desperately to find these lines of sight, takes the pick there onto GXN, and there we have it. A beautiful retake yet again from the side of Alter Ego.
It's just perfect for them. I love it when you see it. They do get the operator picked up for themselves. Again, yeah, he's running all the way back to pick up that op. Finds it on the ground, picks it all up. They have the entirety of the map under control. Ascent seems to be their playground. And again, it's just the raw fundamentals as a team just being showcased by the side of Alter Ego. Again, individual skill is very important for a particular map, of course. But on the map of Ascent, it just won't help you. It really won't.
No. One thing I will say though is, like, obviously there's 2 more rounds here for this defense for the side of Alter Ego. How will they retaliate when it comes to their attack though? And how will the NoNamers retaliate when they have a lot more pressure there? Because that's an aggressive lineup. It's worked well for the first 2 rounds of attack, and it should have been working well for the rest of their attack. But how will that translate to the defense? This could be a little bit risky biscuits right now for the side of NoNamers. They need to desperately get these next 2 rounds on the board, or this is going to slip away from them very, very quickly. The information game has been huge on both sides, both in different ways, as we theorized at the start of this map. And once again, Aggie, we're at the quiet before the storm.
It's happening one more time, ladies and gentlemen, and this could be deadly. They have the first initial entry, they have the positions and everything, but Nemo needs to try and survive, but nope. He gets caught out, and one by one, their bodies will just fall. Kush as well, lost out the duel, and Red Kill is going to be the one to clean it up. Noxy all by himself, maybe good for 1 kill, but that's all that he should be able to find to try and go in for a clutch. It will be difficult, Noxy. Little bit of a miss, the pressure just got to him. 8-3 and a possibility for 9-3. The curse is there, so the members of NoNamers could just be banking on it.
The curses are lurking. as we say. I mean, you know, I said they needed to fight back. They needed to come with something big. That was a very nice collapse into sight. Again, being very, very patient with it. I think the patience maybe took Alter Ego a little bit by surprise there because they didn't really have the information to go off to know where these players were. They weren't really seeing any much presence through mid again. And so they were kind of holding on to what they were already defending. Patience coming through a little bit late, and then ultimately, yeah, NoNamers absolutely won their ones there.
Yep. In this case, it just starts to pile up more and more over time.
Here.
With this pause coming into play, I really want to see exactly what could happen in the long run of this. They've taken the pause, they've mentally reset themselves just a little bit here, and they stopped any form of momentum that the members of NoNamers could have started to build up. But from my end, I will have to say that the defense just looks almost impenetrable. The way that they're holding down the sidelines, and unless they missed a couple of their shots, it's just not going to happen. And in these type of situations, if you're banking on your opposition to miss out their shots for you to take entry and take over a site, it doesn't bode that well now, does it, for your entire team?
This is it. And again, when we look at the kind of agent compositions that have been brought, it's a very aggressive and close quarters kind of stack for the side of NoNamers. And my main concern is, again, going on to that defense, they don't have the luxury of being able to play passive and kind of letting them come to them and holding those long lines of sight. They have to push out. They're going to have to overextend towards that approach from the attack. And again, if Alter Ego start reading into that and being like, okay, we will push as a team then because you're going to send one of you out at a time, most likely, trying to get aggressive, trying to get that early game info and get that early game pick. That could be derailed very, very quickly. We'll see what happens though. But again, ultimately, I think the information game there, it's a lot safer on the side of Alter Ego. And again, when it comes to their attack, I think it might be a little bit more of a slow burn than what we've seen from the side of NoNamers, who have just kind of been getting really stuck in. They've been going for these aggressive collapses, and that's worked pretty well for them until the shutdown started to come through by Alter Ego. Once they'd been like, okay, that's what they're doing, we have the utility to delay that, so let's just shut it down there. And then it gets flustered for the side of NoNamers, where they're like, okay, do we rotate? Do we not rotate? Do we go to mid now? Like, it's
confused.
Yeah, it's a confused feeling really for them, isn't it? And as I said, if they do go to that third and final map, I think it's going to get very hefty and heavy based on what we've seen, because even if they brought that aggression, they're still going to be way further apart. The trades won't come through, as well as you say, you can't really rely on just, oh, we are going to win our gunfight. You need to be bringing the util in your pocket to deal with these approaches, to deal with these defenses, and it's going to be an interesting second half, so that's for sure.
It will be, but I'm banking on the fact that, hey, Ascent is a lot more of a defense favored map, so they'll have an opportunity to play around with it. Plus, you have the other side of the spectrum here into play as well. It's a triple initiator going up against a much more well-rounded composition for the defense. Yes, this composition that the members of NoNamers are running, it doesn't seem that special, but on the defensive side, it allows you to be a lot more versatile in the way that you can take engagements. You can be very hyperly aggressive, you can be a bit more defensive, and I completely agree that especially on the second half, if they're not able to adapt as much, they could just fall into a loop. We have seen this on Pearl. It's happening again on the map of Ascent. They were able to switch things out, possibly get around for themselves, but it doesn't look that pretty for them in the long run. But I will say the silver lining for this entire story has to be the triple initiator on the other end, because that's a slow burn strategy. They need to take time to take map control away, then utilize the bits of utility that they have left, primarily being the 0 point, a couple of flashes, maybe a Fade Prowler, maybe a Silver Recon Bolt, to then brute force their way in towards the side. But this type of utility gameplay requires a team to be sound when it comes down to understanding how the entire map will play out in the long run. The attacking side will not be simple for the members of Alter Ego, so maybe the members of NoNamers are banking on that their attack will be a lot more weaker. and they can just use the defensive rounds for their favor, possibly surviving to an 8-4 scoreline and have that buffer to just push them in.
100%. And again, you know, we talk about trying to push and make it more even. Judging how that first map went, we know that both of these teams certainly have the stamina to kind of battle it out if a reverse sweep does come through as well. And I mean, if that did happen, we certainly are being spoiled. You know, I said we're being spoiled in that first map, but that would certainly be a lovely treat for us to have. Again, I think if anyone's going to be able to reverse sweep it, probably is NoNamers, especially given how they are playing today. They're playing absolutely on top form. Lovely bits of aggression. It's just Alter Ego. I think they just want to close it out now. You know, they want to close it out. They want to just go to basics and just be like, be done with it. Like, we will just play good old-fashioned Valorant and send you home, essentially. And again, it's going to be a really interesting one to see them go forward after this, because I do think that whoever wins this goes against Sunday's best, who had an absolutely phenomenal run this weekend themselves. So that's certainly exciting. It's like the pressure never ends when it comes to this tournament. So that's always a good thing to see too. No kind of immediate steamrolls ever. I think it's going to be an amazing next week of very, very close matches. So that's certainly something to be happy about. But yeah, we do apologize for the slight pause right now. We're just having a few technical issues that we are investigating. Speaking of investigation, let's go back to that information game that both of these teams are bringing. You know, we talked about how we have, you know, the fade on NoNamers, and that was going to really work with those close quarters engagements, but then the Sova on the side of Alter Ego. How important do you think that Sova is going to be when it comes to that attack, especially when it comes to that final execute or even the initial information game at the start of the round?
I'm expecting the Sova to be the real game changer for them. Picking up a KO and a fade is much more of the standard that we have learned over the last couple of patches for this particular map, but having that Sova just adds a little bit more of a layer of depth onto your strategies, because normally, why is the Sova so powerful? He's the only one in the entire roster of the initiators who has an ability that can actually damage players and drastically kill them as well in some cases. But it seems as though the technical difficulties will be lasting a little bit longer here, ladies and gentlemen. So before I get back to the point after, we're going to be heading on down over into a short little break. Make sure to check out all the links down below in the description in the meantime, and we'll catch you in just a little bit.
यार गेम क्या सुपर स्मूथ चल रहा है।
Asus gaming laptop, वो भी amazing deal के साथ, and I can pay आराम से with a 12-month no cost EMI. Crazy!
कहाँ से लिया?
Bro, JBL earbuds at 45% off. उसके ऊपर free Kindle and Audible subscriptions. Can you believe it? अब ये देख।
Whoa.
शांति।
कहाँ से लिया? Sorry.
Hey, you! I'm tracking my run on this new smartwatch I got. Noise का 70% off.
Oh.
मैंने सोचा ऐसी डील पे मैं भी अपनी फिटनेस बढ़ा लूं. Seamless Bluetooth calling. Hey, I'm running towards you. Yeah. कहाँ से लिया? ये देख, I just got this Intel Evo laptop in exchange for my old one. 20,000 बच गए. बस 99 rupees में extended warranty. Plus 20% off भी मिल गया. Pretty sweet deal, right?
Totally feel you, bro. This iPad was always on my wish list. Got the latest one at a great deal and saved $8,000 in exchange for my old phone.
Hey, what's up?
सबको इतनी बढ़िया डील्स मिल रही हैं। ये सब कहाँ से लिया?
Amazon से लिया.
Amazon Great Indian Festival से.
Amazon ग्रेट इंडियन फेस्टिवल पर मिलेंगे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पर जबरदस्त डील्स, नो कॉस्ट EMI, एक्सचेंज ऑफर और सेम डे डिलीवरी।
अब इंडिया बोलेगा Amazon से लिया।
यार गेम क्या सुपर स्मूथ चल रहा है।
Asus गेमिंग लैपटॉप, वो भी अमेजिंग डील के साथ, and I can pay आराम से with a 12-month no cost EMI. Crazy!
कहाँ से लिया?
Bro, JBL earbuds at 45% off. उसके ऊपर free Kindle and Audible subscriptions. Can you believe it? अब ये देख। शांति।
कहाँ से लिया? Sorry.
Hey, you! I'm tracking my run on this new smartwatch I got. Noise का 70% off.
Oh.
मैंने सोचा ऐसी डील पे मैं भी अपनी फिटनेस बढ़ा लूं। Seamless Bluetooth calling.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LG Ultragear presents the Esports Cup Challenger Series for the VCT offseason. Your boy Aggressive is back with the Grays on his side. But yeah, that was a tiny little break. Sorry about all the delays, ladies and gentlemen. Not much that we can do at the end of the day. Technical difficulties all around, but for your viewing pleasure, we have to make sure that everything is in top-notch form. Plus, for the teams, yeah, Alter Ego seems to be making this a quick one, but we want to make it a little bit longer for you guys as well back at home. Possibly give the side of the opposition a little bit of a chance to try and stabilize themselves, because once again, the side of NoNamers, they're just having such a rough time trying to build this one back.
100%. And again, potentially that will change when they go onto that defense. We will see what will happen, but I believe it's a few little Sova points you were talking about before we went to this break, Aggressive, and I kind of want to pickle your brain a little bit more with that. And again, it's this idea that if they're going onto that attack and they're sending out that, intel dart, how is that going to benefit them, especially when it comes to the fact that NoNamers, based on how their attack has been, I am expecting an aggressive push from the get-go on that defense. I think they're going to really bring that gunfight as soon as possible to Alter Ego, and Alter Ego are going to be holding back, trying to get some information potentially, whilst NoNamers are just running at them. That could be quite interesting.
But it really does depend on them getting the proper read as well. Again, you're going up against a triple initiator composition. You need to have an idea of where the team really wants to go, and then you can start going in for aggressive rushes. If you take a massive gamble, start pushing onto mid from tiles by throwing in a couple of flashes, allowing Vera to just run amok over on towards the B lobby side, then you find no one there. You're just staring into a wall with the crickets just chirping on the side. And the entirety of the opposition team is outside A. They've already taken over the site, and now you're just stuck in a position against 3 initiators who have utility that constantly comes back after every 35 seconds, and you have no idea of how to go in for a retake without dying. At the bare minimum, 2 people will die trying to take that entry, going up against 3 initiators. It's just not going to work. You cannot let this team get into a site. As soon as they do, that post plan is close to impossible to try and take over and win. And this is the case here. This is why the Sova is so powerful. You told me that, hey, you want to pick my brain for this? That Sova is strong when it comes down to the post plans. The post plans is where the real strength of the Sova lies.
Agreed.
You don't need him for the entry. Your 2 initiators outside, the Fade, the KO, get you the entry, get as much information as they can, set you up for victory. But the Sova is where the real pain will start. God damn it, try it. Break all of the Sova utility, deal with the shock darts, deal with the amount of damage that he can do when it comes down to just chipping your HP down little by little. There's no way you can beat him, and if he has his Hunter's Fury online, there's absolutely nothing that you can do to try and win out that round in particular.
That's it, isn't it? The Hunter's Fury coming out, especially again in the post plan, and how powerful that can be, because especially if that can be paired with the intel utility as well, you know exactly where they're coming from. Okay, I'm just going to pop it now. I know that they're rotating here. I can catch them off guard and get myself some really fun kills under my belt. And again, Sova's utility, you don't have to have the line of sight with the other player. You don't have to be fully taking that engagement up to their face. You can kind of hold back a little bit. You're very passive with it. And I think, again, that plays perfectly into how you should be playing a post plan. You should be more passive and holding these angles. You should be more passive and getting the information you need. So, yeah, completely agree with you there. I mean, with how the rest of this map is going to go, again, we do kind of have this idea of the 9-3 curse. Do you think there is a chance of that happening truly?
Considering how the pistol rounds have been going, I'm gonna give that a chance. The pistol rounds coming in from NoNamers are just a tiny bit more stronger, I would say, at the end of the day. Oh, Delb, he's literally hugging his monitor here in the back. I did not notice that. I mean, more power to him.
More power to him indeed. And here we go. Last defensive round for the side of... Well, that's certainly a good way to start your last defensive round. Beautiful little shot there coming out by Delb, and Vera desperately trying to go in for this trade. There we go. Noxie falling down. Can they get a second onto Kush?
What a shot!
No, they
Hello!
can't, because Kush is going to take you out as Vera takes out Delb, and here we go, that all-important owl drone. We speak about the importance of intel. We speak about the importance of that information game, and there we go. Sean a little bit spotted out there, so they know exactly that this fight is committed to, at least for now, but the approach up mid, Gemma, absolutely clever play there to know, okay, I'm going to push them as they run away. I'm going to get my freebie there as their back is turned. Redco desperately trying to trade it back. There we go. Beautiful drop down to Gemma. The trade's coming through, but ultimately, why did they rush him? Because Redco is on fire, and that is an 8-4 split. Gorgeous stuff.
God damn. Redco just knows. Just look at this guy. Casually cleaning them up, sidesteps all around. He's doing the salsa dance in the background, and he's able to find the frags that he wants. But I would say maybe a tactical dodge from the 9-3 curse as well. 8-4. You take a loss, but you keep the morale up.
Morale is indeed hopefully going to be up again. Besides which, coming off a win, it should be quite nice there for NoNamers. Going to put the wind under their sails, so to speak. But this is what I'm talking about. Look at how close they are to really going for this aggressive push here. I mean, yeah, there we go. DXN ready and waiting around the corner. I mean, I told you this was going to happen. I told you the pushes were going to come out. Vera fully making their way through Fish Market as well. So that's going to be a little bit risky now. And look at this, the pressure that's already being applied onto Alter Ego. They are taking their time. They are trying to get that information they need. The utility going down to the line of sight. That is bad indeed. But DXN is able to teleport back.
He didn't even get hit once.
Casualties yet. Goodness me.
Man's like Neo from the Matrix. Hello? Dodging bullets left and right at the B side, right for the picking. They have the entirety for themselves. Vera's gonna get caught, and he needs to run. Del possibly gonna be the danger here. No one's gonna catch the fade eye. And Delb going down early. That's going to be a rough one for them to try and get back from, because that's the first initial kill. Push on towards the back. Finds another one to equalize, but still not the positions that they want. Noxy all the way over towards the back end of the site. Has a little bit of information to play around with. Adrian needed a kill. Doesn't really find anything. One by one, their bodies drop. The pavement is painted red with their blood. Members of NoNamers, they survive and they get the round. 8-5 on the scorecards, and the possibility of an 8-6 could just be on the cards.
I mean, this is what I mean, you know, we saw how much hesitance was coming through from Alter Ego there. They know that they had to use their utility, and it's literally from the get-go, you know, NoNamers being willing, as I say, to bring that fight from the get-go, going for those overextensions away from the site, looking for those opening engagements to really go in their favor. We saw how hyper-aggressive they were from the get-go on their attack, and they're bringing that same energy here on this defense.
This is where the real problems will start.
Oh, nasty.
Ouch. Hey, he got
Ouch
the redemption
indeed.
from last round, right?
This is true. This is true. But the fact that that's happened for the second time, the fact that they weren't expecting that, that's a little bit naughty, a little bit silly sausages. Kush and Vera about to have a little bit of a dance-off in Fish, but the intel dart going out, and Vera isn't quite spotted out by it yet, so managing to escape with their life. A little trade coming through as Bryce takes some Noxy, and Adrian
Nice
takes
shot.
down Bryce, but Deb as well, the pick there onto DXN, and here we go. The attackers firmly planting themselves into sight. They are able to potentially get the spike down here. There we go. Vera has to go for a long retake through mid now, and there we go. Redco actually there to support it. Kush falling down, but it's a 3 versus 2 post plant, and well, Delb, they are indeed a gunner and a half, but can they be the extra body? Can they be a 2-in-1 here for their team to make it a lot more of a nicer post plant? They're on a tiny bit of health as well. There we go. Gorgeous stuff. Vera taking down Delb, Shun taking down Adrian, and there we have it. The defuse can be stuck, and that is a round on the board yet again for NoNamers.
Alter Ego, they did a pretty good job though at the end of the day, getting those couple of kills that they wanted. They got the plant down. So I would say at the end of the day, a pretty decent eco for their side.
Maybe if they got maybe 1 or 2 more kills, it would have been the most perfect round for them. But carrying forward those weaponries that they did have in that last particular round will be massive for them. This Bulldog alone can be the biggest game changer if Redco is able to find that first initial couple of kills that he needs for a squad to get that momentum. But Bryce, again, he wants to play it aggressive with his buddy, but this time around the Chamber's not going to be the one to play aggressive, and Bryce is all by himself.
100%, and again, it's almost like at this point, Alt Ego are expecting that they're holding it back a little bit, Gemma ready and waiting for any potential push to come through from A, while the rest of the team start to set their sights towards that B site. And again, this could be clever if they can send a little bit of util towards A, or at least make a little bit of noise. Maybe that could help a little bit of a bait come through and clear up a bit more breathing space as well for that B site, because for now the Owl drone, it is a piece of util, but it's also very loud, and that audio cue may have let Shun know that they are going for a B collapse. Redco on the flank at the back as well. There we go, 2 agents suppressed, as you can see, and that's going to be very, very awkward to go for the collapse now.
Yeah, they're just stuck, but goddamn, Adrian just walked out, crouched in his crosshair, and just bombed Vera on the head. That's a really rough hit to take. With that kill, Vera, the superstar, has been taken out. And Redco, he needs to be the one to step onto the plate, possibly with a kill or 2. Flash is going to be good, but they have the entirety of the side, and 1 by 1, the mode out comes in. The weeds have been picked up, sent over into the grinder, and the possibility of a flawless seems to be on the cards, but DXN, maybe he has something to say about it. Doesn't really seem to be the cards for them. A kill coming in from Bryce, but yeah, he's going to be able to save a Vandal for himself, but that's pretty much it. Is he opting to go in for a save though? Maybe, but he doesn't really need to.
Adrian certainly is hungry for it. There we go. No save. Thank you, sir. Bryce is going to be the finishing casualty, but there we go. 9 rounds now for the side of Alter Ego, and hopefully that's going to put the wind under their sails yet again. I mean, on both sides, it's getting nasty again, isn't it, Aggie? Like, I think this is going to be a lot closer than what we think. There is the potential of overtime, to be honest. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
Or maybe you feel the caster's curse instead.
Maybe. Maybe that's what it is. We will see what happens. For now, the duo swing out around age short, but a lot of util being dumped down, and that's going to, well, there we go. Allow Bryce to pick up one onto Gamma, and Viren looking for a trade of their own, but there's nothing really to come through. So for now, side Alter Ego very much known to stay away from a site after that little ruckus, and that's going to give all the info here for DXN to know that this push has to come most likely through a fish right now. And that sign, look at the pixel angle, it misses though, but they at least know that DXN is ready and waiting for them, and a lot of util about to be used. There we go, allowing Delb to collect that kill, but Shun, ready and waiting, manages to trade it back out. They weren't aware. There we go, the recon bomb coming through. It's going to let them know that Shun is the only one on site, and that spike can now start to go down. Redco trying to collect this map control back into their pocket, trying to maintain that site control, but it's just not there. They know there's a player in fish, and there we go. The player in fish of Noxy is going to take them down. Nice timing indeed, and Vera has to push from market, and this is going to get very, very spicy for them. They are aware of the player in fish, but the player in fish is also aware of them, and there could be a nasty little gunfight we're about to witness between Vera and Noxy. But for now,
I don't even care.
Quiet before the storm, and it is all left down to Vera. Can they find a few exit frags? There we go. Adrian just shuts it down before there's even a chance, and that is another round on the board for Alter Ego.
That was really smart all around. They played it perfectly down to the T when it came down to the execution. Slow and steady wins the race. No over-aggressive peaks. And Noxy, he wasted so much time as well. You gotta love it when you see it. Normally, a player coming in from B main will make a lot more noise. He'll start to take over-aggressive peaks. Maybe, you know, he's trying to find that kill to alleviate some of that pressure from the players inside of the site. But no, he was that X factor. He just stayed back and waited for the opposition to try and clear him out, but no one came for him. That was perfect for him. He held down the sideline, understanding that he needs to play the clock. And the positions were good. Shun, though, looking for a kill. Qualifier is gonna be better. Kush takes his HP down a couple of notches. And now Gima once again. This. Oh! I don't know why he loves this angle so much, but I guess he got a kill out of it this time, right?
You certainly did, but again, it's just the constant contention of A short is just making me shake my head because well, that's making me shake my head too because now the defense is whittled down to only 3 and there's a beautiful push coming through. Bryce able to hold it back for a little bit though before being traded out by Delb and Redco with the 2K before being shut down by Kush. It is a 1 versus 1, but they do have the spikes. So that plant's going to go down. Now time is in the favor of Alter Ego. What can DXN do?
Timing! Goodbye.
Oof! Well played by Kush there. Well played.
Yep. Kush already got that read immediately. If no one is trying to break the door coming in from A short, if I heard no footsteps trying to run all the way from spawn on towards heaven, where's the last possible position this chamber could be? He has to be on flank. Read him like an open book, and with that Alter Ego, they've taken 11 and 6 scoreline under their belt. And honestly speaking, even though some of the plays being made by Alter Ego is questionable, you cannot deny that their confidence is sky high.
Absolutely. And again, a little bit of util being sent out because they know that this is happening every single round at this point. They know the extension's coming into long, but I mean, do they know that this approach is being brought aggressively to them if they're back up? This could be huge. This could be massive. No immediate shots landing just yet, but there we go. Rising taking down Noxie, and Vera is going to go down as Adrian King is going to take a casualty of their own. 1-for-1 on both sides. It's going to start getting really nasty now, Aggie. Rice looking for a second. There we go. Gemma falling down. 3 versus 4, but it looks like the hesitance to take that spike to A is now firmly concreted in the mind of Alter Eagle. Yeah, we don't really want to contest that anymore because it was getting a little bit nasty. But now, again, look who's waiting for them on that B site, Aggie.
DXN, he didn't move a single inch, even though this much ruckus was being made on the other end of this. Dashin coming in from one of the sides. DXN, beautiful kill. He got overrun from the side of short. Shun's gonna be able to take down one, and he's gonna be able to take out the second. The market player coming in down strong and hot. As the members of NoNamers, finally, they have their foothold that they wanted, and they got the trades that they were hoping for as well. And again, look at this play over onto A main. I understand you want this control that badly, but you don't have to just send your players to die for it. That B-side hit could have been so much stronger if they established a bit more mid-control and then opted to go in for a split push.
Thanks.
I think this is it. It's concerning right now to see them stack up around A long. I'm going to assume that they're going to send a lot of utility to deal with the aggression that actually it's the first time they're holding off on that overextension, and this could be a full site push by the side of Alter Ego. The ulti coming through to really hold off any approach from A Heaven, but DXN ready and waiting, push falling down. Delp desperately trying to find a head to take out. Vera falling, DXN taking out Noxie in retaliation. Little bit of a bloodbath underway. Bryce takes down Gemma as well, and there we go. The spike has been down on A. That is really unfortunate. They had all that room to work with. They collapsed it in. They just didn't hold their angles, and then the utility dump came in. Adrian King 1 versus 3. You don't have the spike. They can just sit there happy now. They can just sit there. Let you come to them.
Yeah, it's just done for them. Adrian, he knows that he just needs to opt for a save at this point. He's not going to be surviving this one. And again, one of the key important factors for a push like this is when you have a triple initiator, you need to have some form of mid control. Where's the utility on the mid that will stop the players from aggressing from mid cubby? You have more than enough util for the site. You don't need to dump each and every one of the players' utility over onto one single corridor. And these have a small misplace. It will start to slowly but surely add up onto the roster here. And Grace, unless they go in for a switch up,
10 seconds
I
left.
do believe that the members of NoNamers would just be going in for a comeback and equalizing at an 11 and 11. They needed one round, and they finally got it.
The thing for me is, like, I think maybe they were surprised on the side of Alter Ego by the fact that they were able to get A so easily, but then the spike needed to come down pretty much instantly. I think when you've got that much room, just try and force the plant. And that's the most important thing about going for a rush like that. If you're going for a full team rush, as soon as you get the opportunity, that spike needs to be hyper-focused. It needs to just go down, you pull the timer in your favor, you hold your lines of sight. It was very clumsy there, I'll say, by the side of Alter Ego. Wanted to see him do it a little bit sharper, maybe use more util, maybe hold tighter lines of sight. They did a good job of delaying it for as long as possible, but ultimately it was a situation of close and no cigar.
It didn't work out the way that they wanted. But for them, they need to try and find that first bit of an avenue. Once again, the pixel peak being held by DXN. This is an eagle. No. Shot gets missed. Now the B side could just be ripe for the begging. Delve getting completely caught out right there. Absolutely no util whatsoever to try and break their way through. Shun does get one, but they have nothing on them. One by one, they funnel straight into their waiting arms, and a flawless to boot as well. A flawless, mind you, because they didn't lose a single point of HP in this entire fight.
I mean, this is it. It was just some really nasty shots coming out. Even this one, you know, Shun dropping down, taking out Noxie, and again, just the up action that we were seeing from DXN just really made the numbers count. We often say the opening engagements can be converted 9 times out of 10 into a round win, but I think that's where currently Alter Ego are struggling. They're losing out these opening engagements a bit too much, and they really need to start getting these kills under their belt. They need to be able to start putting the pressure back onto NoNamers, who at the moment, the last few rounds have just been running circles around them.
True. At this point, taking this tactical timeout is probably one of the biggest and the most important parts of a team trying to reestablish themselves. They lost out on a lot of rounds. Just think about it. The scoreline was an 8-4, and now we're looking at an 11-9. Taking this time to just reset your mindset is the most crucial bit. Because in a way, Alter Ego, they're playing completely fine. I wouldn't say they're playing bad, but some questionable decisions when it comes down to over-aggressively taking a particular line of sight for themselves. Chima just being a bit too over-eager to take A-main control away from them when he should just be holding them back from going in for an aggressive push. They can just slow things down. Go in for the much more control-heavy playstyle and then off to go in for rushes. But Mira, I don't think he's gonna wait for any of that. All right, buddy. They wanted to take full mid control, and now it's just gonna cost them.
Cost them indeed. Aggression coming through right now from the side of Alter Ego to deal with the aggression NoNamers were trying to bring to that mid section, and Shun, ready and waiting, thinks that it's going to continue to happen, but that rotate is going to start to come through. But Bryce, ready and waiting yet again on a short. I think they're slightly concerned there may be someone lurking. They're a bit confused as to why there was suddenly a burst of gunfire in that mid, and now nothing's really coming through. Quiet before the storm yet again, Aggie. It really has been the name of this series so far. Really nice patience from both sides before just a furious explosion of kills on both way. And here we go.
No, that's a
DXN
miss.
get a shot? No, they can't. There we go. And Bryce is really starting to be pressured now. They managed to take down Dell, but Kush is there for the refrag, and now that site is fully taken. This spike needs to go down, though. It's like I say, Shun taking down Kush is really going to put a span in the works, but please focus this objective, Alter Ego. Shun desperately trying to stop that door from closing, and here we go. Spike finally potentially about to go down. There we
that
are.
is
It's
such
now
a beautiful seize.
100%, but Gemma has something to say about it, taking down DXN, and Shun setting out so much utility to try and find these players. There we go, has there a number of Noxie, and just tries to go for a little bit of a swing. I mean, beautiful shot there. Gemma and Adrian falling down, and wow, before I can get my words out, that was a full, clean retake yet again from NoNamers. They are so good at applying this pressure in the post plant. It is not even funny anymore.
They're getting these rounds out of absolutely nowhere as well. Just look at the positioning and the timing as well. Bryce walking away with a victory. That is something that should not be happening again. Where's the control over onto mid? I understand you want to explode onto a side, but you cannot play it like this. Alter Ego, they're dropping the ball here badly, and their eco is suffering because of it. They do not have a single buy left in them. They need to save here. They have some form of weaponry to take these engagements, but it's not enough. They need a miracle to win this one out, and this operator in the hands of DXN has been a big thorn on their side.
100%. I mean, again, just constantly consistent as well. It's the consistency we often want to see from some of these players, and that's certainly what we're getting with players like DX and Delb. Hunting for a nice opening engagement to go in the favor of Alter Ego, but not really getting any info yet. I'm not sure if Shun is aware of the danger lurking behind him. This could be really a big Aggie if they do not make themselves aware. Well, there we go. That's going to let Shun know that there is people approaching. And there we go.
Hello?
Gorgeous shot there by
Shun?
Kush. I think they were too distracted by the idea of the rustling the other side of that wall. And Vera kind of trapped it and caught her a little bit here. The smoke goes out, but Redco gets to pick onto Kush. Del pulls as well, but Adrian King
Nice shot.
and Noxia there to shut it down. And a 2 versus 3. But
Eva!
once again, they need to focus with Spike. Gamma indeed. This flank could be huge. They
Oh,
can
they
see
don't
both
know.
of them. Here we go. There is one. Can they get the second? Because that call out has come through now. And now the pressure really is on for Bryce. They know they have to do a retake. They know there's a player lurking around the top of mid. How can they play this? They just have to bait out these 1 versus 1 engagements. Go for a little bit of the utility dump to help them a little bit, obscuring some of these lines of sight just in case someone is playing in mud. They go for the pick at box. They manage to land their shots there. Can they get the second one? No! Adrian comes through, and as you can all say, a thrifty round there, but an all-important win that Alter Ego definitely needed, didn't they, Aggie?
Yep. They wanted this win badly, and here they are to try and take this one away. Things could have been so much more different for them in these type of engagements, but it wasn't the case. NoNamers, they got completely caught off guard, especially by Gima. That was a thrifty round, mind you. They had no buys whatsoever, and Shun, he wanted to hide himself in a corner, but Kush just doesn't want to give in. The man has perfect fundamentals to clear out each and every corner, but this time around, again, they're trying to overly aggress on towards this A lobby sideline. They need to give this one away. A main is one of those sides that you just cannot take over and over again, but mid is also a problem. There's so much control all across the map. One operator posted onto mid and the other one posted onto B main. Where do the attackers run? But if the defenders miss a single bullet, Grace, this entire strategy and this entire plan could just start tumbling down like Humpty Dumpty. And yep, I think it's gonna happen from here.
Humpty Dumpty indeed. Humpty Dumpty, well, DXN has something to say about that. Humpty Dumpty having a great fall as Gemma falls down. Vera ready and waiting. They do have the Blade Storm available too, so if they're feeling themselves, if they're feeling a little bit fraggy, this could be huge. There we go. Adrian falling down. Kush, before I can even words out, that was a tidy cleanup there from the side of NoNamers. And wow, the pressure is certainly starting to come through. 11-12. How do you like those apples?
I was spot on the analogy. I think if they missed their shots, then this was over. Considering it was a double operator setup, they needed to hit each and every bullet when it came down to their setup. And they delivered. Again, running this double operator composition. The members of Alter Ego, they know they're under a lot of strain, under a lot of trouble, but both of the operators, they are not here. This could be deadly for them. Over from the top end of this, Bryce still holding down from the bottom side. That's going to be the first. Positions are already known, but Bryce! He's just so clean and he's so beautiful with it. He walks away with a triple. Bryce, take them to overtime, baby, as Mira and Shun get the last two. They are euphoric after that win. 12-12 as we head on down into overtime number 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Overtime indeed. I mean, you know, we called it at the start of the map that this has the potential to go to overtime, and certainly there we go. Very, very nasty stuff. But now, as you can see, NoNamers back on the attack. Going into this overtime on the attack, we saw how the aggression really helped them in those first 2 rounds, but it was constantly then shut down by Alter Ego. So depending on how this round goes, in my opinion, is really going to determine who will win, Aggie. Genuinely, I think that is what we're going to see. If Alter Ego are able to contest them yet again like they did in that first half, this could be game over.
There's a good chance, but at the same time, you have to give the side of NoNamers props to build that entire lead back in their favor. They ended off on an 8-4 for the first half. We wrote them off saying that they're not going to be able to do it as well. But Alter Ego, they changed the pacing that they had previously. They started to look a little bit more lost, and their strategies were being read into. NoNamers, the adaptations that they were going in for, the different types of plays that they were making, was perfect to watch on each and every end of this. Now, it's their last shot to try and find this. Fragment not in the right position. Yep, Adrian, he's going to give away the entirety of Garden, and this is pretty bad. Not having Garden control, this A-site hit is going to be pretty big. And Gima, he's just stuck inside of the site.
Yeah, that's a very uncomfortable position to be in, and this is where the rotation needs to come through. Here we go, Delb ready and waiting. Vera versus Delb, but Delb comes out on top. Redco with the trade, however. And again, a bit of back and forth here as Bryce. They've been having an absolutely phenomenal game. Another one onto Kush, and there we go. NoNamers winning out the all-important attacking round that they really had to win out, and now this could be it. They could be pulling us to map number 3, Aggie.
There's a good chance. Timeout's going to be coming in from Gima to try and maybe get the team into better spirits, because honestly, after so many losses, you know that your entire team is feeling the heat and feeling that pressure. They need to cool themselves off in some way, shape, or form, because currently the squad just... they look lost. What's happening to them? Because in my eyes, the team that had so much momentum, such a sound playstyle right off the bat early on in the game, now they just are running around like headless chickens in a way. They're taking a lot of unnecessary engagements. They're giving out map control to the opposition. As soon as I saw Garden being given up,
yeah,
what was the idea there? Why would you ever give up Garden this easily without holding tree?
I guess they didn't have the information. They thought maybe it was going to be a push through fish, because they thought they would have been contested at that point. They weren't really prepared for the quiet. Again, the quiet before the storm. I really think that's the phrase of this series between these two, because when they're being patient, they're so patient. But that patient then becomes this explosive gun battle where one of them is just getting so ruthless and bloodthirsty. These kills coming through like it's nobody's business, and really nasty stuff. Again, the overextension found a long ready and waiting for them to make a mistake, make their approach fair, and rightly so. We did see a timeout from the side of Alter Ego, and they're just going for an immediate stampede now, and this could be massive, but ready and waiting for them. The players of NoNamers, they've been landing their shots, but Redco can't land his. Shun can, though. There's a gorgeous trade coming through by the Fade player, and they're ready and waiting to hold back this approach.
Nice,
but again, no one is sticking this spike. They need to grab that spike to get it down on the side. Delb taking down Vera, though. That's going to allow a little bit of breathing room to get that spike, and it needs to be stuck. DX, and there we go. Gemma is able to pick it up. Good stuff. And again, by the skin of their teeth, Alter Ego pushing this further and further forward. And they really needed to win that round, didn't they?
That was the most necessary win for them to find. And I honestly do believe that after getting that first initial overtime victory, they finally set up the pace and the momentum that they wanted. That pass rush all the way back on towards mid was perfect. Again, I have to give it to the Sova to allow them to get this. Kush, he did God's work. He got the outrun, got the tag, got the timing, got the space that he wanted for his duelist, and they just ran in.
show the utility that he's been constantly setting up for them. The initiators are the one that you're always looking to do all of this, and push being on top of the scoreboard is not that different. One more kill over from one. Kush and Delb, they bring it back, baby. And the possibility of a win coming in from the defense is there. But the real question is, will we see a resurgence coming in from the side of NoNamers? Because either one of these teams could just take this. Yeah, it's a 3 versus 4, but do you think I care? Oh, hell no. Do the players care? Nope. Because they have gotten through even tougher times on a 2 versus 4 scenario. And NoNamers, they're looking to pull off that miracle once again.
Once again, indeed. But we speak of miracles, and how much of a miracle has Bryce been on this Astra? They've been landing some insane shots, and this could be huge in that midsection as well, especially if these rotations start to come through.
left.
Again, the pressure really on NoNamers. 30 seconds as you hear on the clock. They have to start pushing through Fish, and as soon as that audio cue comes out, that is going to be translated across to the rest of the players, and that rotation will come. Here we go. DXN leading the charge, and Delb ready and waiting there with the ult. Kush taking out DXN as well. Bryce, you have been so good on this map, but can you be good enough? No, you can't, because you got 1 second to do it, my friend. Goodness me.
Guy just lands all the shots though, like you have to say. He pats his KD, but it's just beautiful to watch. But at match point, ladies and gentlemen, at overtime number 2, is there a possibility of overtime number 3? I don't know, because the mental is going to take a pretty big hit when you're on the opposition. And at the end of the day, it all ends and it all starts for one of these teams. No more second chances, because you either go big or you go home. Will it be the ones to head into playoffs, or will you fall flat just be lost in the wind?
Ready,
DXN?
taken out by again with a 2k. Vera shutting it down. Nuxie trading that immediately back, and goodness me, Shun tries to make something work. A 3 versus 2 now, and well, there we go. NoNamers, they really need to make this work. They know they're at a player disadvantage, and the spike is going down. This is going to be a difficult retake, but rightly so. Look at this. They have stacked up together. They are making sure they are there for the refrag. The Astra utility has gone down as well, so Bryce and Shun can try and cut off some of these lines of sight and give them a bit of a fighting chance. Kush, however, holding the back there. Delb is aware that at least one of them is approaching, and are they aware of this rotation up the top? Yes, they are. Shun going down. Bryce! Bryce, not like this. You've been so good on this map, but ultimately there can only be one winner. Alter Ego, a 2-0 in this best of 3, and I mean, that was by the skin of their teeth though, wasn't it?
Yep. It's just rough, I have to say. They tried. Honestly, they did. I'm very surprised that NoNamers got this far as well. Considering, of course, I hyped up the team because of the names that they have on the roster. But Alter Ego, again, so much experience under their belt. They're not going to let up that easily. And even though you have so much talent on your team, each and every members of NoNamers put up numbers on the board that is on, by far, I would say, other than Kush, no one is able to match NoNamers when it came down to the individual fragging capability. But as a team, Alter Ego just completely swept the entirety of this scene.
And this is it too, you know, Alter Ego, they do have more experience. They have had more officials under their belt. Again, 67% win rate when you've been to this map so many times throughout your competitive history. Of course it's going to be a good map for you. I just don't think they expected the ferocity that NoNamers brought here. And I think it was so good. And I think a lot of people watching, we all wanted it to go to map number 3, because goodness me, NoNamers, they absolutely fought tooth and nail. You know, that initial first 2 rounds really threw a span in the works and got Alter Ego a little bit on the ropes. But then Alter Ego ultimately being able to be like, okay, no, look at the util we have. We can play this a little bit more passive. If they're going to try and be aggressive, we can just util dump and delay that approach. And then what are they going to do? They'll lose that momentum. We'll just hold our crossfires. and collect our ones. However, the retake potential that ultimately came into a retake truth. It was phenomenal from the side of NoNamers, really pushing it and pushing it. We end up in overtime. I can't remember the last time I actually saw an overtime or got to cast an overtime. So that was certainly exciting. And again, it really shows the quality of play here in this region and the fact that it is going to constantly be pushed and pushed. Even if it was a 2-0, it was a very, very close 2-0, Aggie.
Yep. At the end of the day, it really just came down to the direction the team went to. It was perfect all around. I have to say, this was a game where both of these teams, they constantly started to adapt, they evolved, and you could see the emotion in the entire game as well. Each and every player, they tried their hearts out to try and go in for a win. DXN right at the very end, I do believe that was a frustration peak coming out from him. To take that operator all the way from mid-top, swing onto tiles without any form of backup at that point, he wanted to try and get this win for his team.
100%. And again, like, there were just some phenomenal players coming through from all of these players. Bryce, again, as an example, on the side of NoNamers, we saw him consistently show up time and time again. And I mean, the amount of terror happening on A short as well. Can we just touch on that quickly?
Yeah.
Because it was getting nasty between these two. Even if they weren't even fully committing to that A collapse, they couldn't even get anywhere near it half the time because of how much it was being contested by the overextension of the defense. Of course, when we look at the agent selections that we saw as well, yes, we had a triple initiator. And again, when it came to that intel game, both teams had very different agents to work with in terms of how they wanted to get the information to lead them to victory. And it was kind of crazy to me that it was still so close, but it shows how well both teams were doing with those agent compositions. And here we go, as expected, to be honest, on the side of NoNamers. Bryce there, 29 kills. That is significantly good.
Yep. NoNamers, they have good stats all around. Bryce with 29, Shun with 21. Vera having a little bit more of a quiet game, I would say, on this Jet, going on 16. Redco as well played out his mind, 19 and 16. DXN also a little bit of a quiet game. Two of the star fraggers from the map of Pearl just did not have enough energy, I would say, for the map of Ascent. It's a stark contrast of what they had in previous, but for Alter Ego, they're just clean all around. Again, the team that they have right now is just so consistent playing together. They don't have the massive numbers that NoNamers had on that side, but as a team and as a unit, they far outshone any expectations that I had personally for the roster. Because in my eyes, I always saw Alter Ego to be a team that really does rely on those star players to push their way forward onto any win. But that's not the case. They play together as a squad and they're winning because of it.
100%. And I think, again, massive hats off to NoNamers, because the fact that, well, we're about to get to the map results now, and this is going to really, really show my point, to be honest. Thank you, our lovely production. 13-10 to 15-13. These were some very, very close games. As we've discussed, Alter Ego, they have been around the block a bit. They are very experienced when it comes to entering tournaments together as a roster and playing together as a roster compared to NoNamers. But the fact that NoNamers could have them on the ropes so much, I say give NoNamers a few more months and they'll be absolutely storming through and causing so many upsets. We've already seen so many upsets this weekend. And teams like NoNamers over time, they're going to be the ones to cause those upsets. And it's like I said yesterday, you need upsets to happen in a region. That shows that it's a high quality region. You do not want constant domination by the same few teams. You need upsets to happen. You need the quality of play to constantly improve. People are constantly tested. A pack on top. And certainly, I hope it's going to be led by SA and SEA. And here we go. Yep. Ultimate MVP is going to be Kush.
Are we really surprised? The guy is getting 241 ACS on a Fade, 284 ACS on a Sova.
Yeah.
He can just do no wrong, honestly. This guy has been consistent for years now. And his consistency just is one of the scariest things about him. He never has a bad game.
Doesn't matter if he's not getting a single kill in a lobby. If you just see his utility usage alone, I believe even if he didn't get these 26 frags, the way that he used his utility to set up Delb is what
Yes,
really
exactly.
shines about him.
And that's 100% it. You know, normally 9 times out of 10, people expect the duelist mains to kind of come through, and they're the main MVP. The fact that you've got this really strong backbone behind a player like Delb that is Kush, with all that information, and again, the utility that Kush will bring, they get that info, they react to it, they react with their team. It's a beautiful setup every single time. Gorgeous stuff. And I mean, that has been a phenomenal best of 3. Granted, yes, it was only 2-0, so we won't go to that third map, which I'm kind of a little bit sad about. I kind of wanted to see some Haven action, especially between these two, but ultimately that was a nice victory by both teams. Again, I think NoNamers, they've got a lot of things, they've got a lot of experience, a lot of information, a lot of things to work with going forward. So have they even truly lost here? You know, they got Alter Ego on the ropes. They've got so much stuff to work with going forward. And I say, to be honest, that is a roster to keep your eye on.
Yep, that's for certain. They played their heart out. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all that we have for you for the side of SCA for today, at least, because, hey, when you're at the Esports Club, the action just never stops. So make sure to check out all the links down below in the description, and also hit that like and hit the subscribe button as well if you want to get notified about all of the incredible action that we have in store for you down the line. It's a long tournament still. We're just at the qualifier stage, ladies and gentlemen. The playoffs is still not even here yet. It's a lot more fun, a lot more games, and a lot more action, because you don't want to miss out on the 5 p.m. game now, do you? Because that's going to be where the SA region will start to make it all happen. But again, shout out to all of our sponsors at Amazon India, Zotac Gaming, Intel, Crucial, Asus, and of course our broadcast partners, Loco. But for now, it's going to be your boy Aggressive with Gray signing on off, and we're going to be seeing it tomorrow. Sorry, soon after, but for us, it's going to be tomorrow with a lot more action for the LG Ultragear presents the Esports Challenger Series for the VCT off-season, powered by Amazon, with our GPU partners being Zotac Gaming, gaming partners being Intel, memory and storage partners being Crucial, laptop partners being Asus, and our broadcast partner being Loco. We'll see you soon.
यस यार, गेम क्या सुपर स्मूथ चल रहा है।
Asus gaming laptop, वो भी amazing deal के साथ, and I can pay आराम से with a 12-month no cost EMI. Crazy!
कहाँ से लिया?
Bro, JBL earbuds at 45% off. उसके ऊपर free Kindle and Audible subscriptions. Can you believe it? अब ये देख। शांति।
कहाँ से लिया? Sorry.
Hey, you! I'm tracking my run on this new smartwatch I got. Noise का 70% off.
Oh,
मैंने सोचा ऐसी डील पे मैं भी अपनी फिटनेस बढ़ा लूं. Seamless Bluetooth calling. Hey, I'm running towards you. Yeah. ये देख, I just got this Intel Evo laptop in exchange for my old one. 20,000 बच गए. बस 99 rupees में extended warranty. Plus 20% off भी मिल गया. Pretty sweet deal, right?
Totally feel you, bro. This iPad was always on my wish list. Got the latest one at a great deal and saved $8,000 in exchange for my old phone.
Hey, what's up?
सबको इतनी बढ़िया डील्स मिल रही हैं। ये सब कहाँ से लिया?
Amazon से लिया.
Amazon Great Indian Festival से.
Amazon Great Indian Festival पर मिलेंगे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पर जबरदस्त डील्स, नो कॉस्ट EMI, एक्सचेंज ऑफर और सेम डे डिलीवरी।
अब इंडिया बोलेगा Amazon से लिया।